for everybody for sticking it out. We're almost to the finish line. We are getting so close, but I hope you got to watch that. That's so like AMSR watching Emerald. It is really cool. But I had to. I really liked her Buddha, so I had to grab it. It's magic. It's magic. I got no. This is mine. I was like, hey, I have that Buddha, and if you look behind me on my altar space, I've got that's my I put my beanie Buddha there because this is where this guy is usually at. This guy is usually there with the beanie Buddha. Now this is not my altar, but that's Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it's nesting dolls that when you pull them apart, it's going to be sorry, all the Transylvanians and Columbia and the list. So, welcome. I am Sir Pamela Kelly. I am a member of the Order of the Paladins, Sacred Order of the Paladins, and this is one of my Buddhas. I have a Buddha fetish. I really do, but I usually collect the hotais, the fat belly, rub your belly for good luck. I have like so many of them. I really do. I love Buddhas. There's like another one I have here that's like a little. Here he is. I'm not kidding you. See, I got this little guy too. Somewhere I have glow in the dark ones because I also have a glow in the dark thing, and I have glow in the dark Buddhas. But I also have other faiths. You can take. I see my Mary right here and child as the mother energy and child energy, and it means a lot to me because my mother gave it to me, and my mother was born and raised Muslim. My mother was born and raised Muslim, and she actually got that from Turkey. So go figure. There's a reason I'm bringing all this stuff up. Now, the zebra is because I have Ehlers-Danlos, and the zebra is our mascot. And I can tell you about that some other time. But it is Ehlers-Danlos Awareness Month, so you can find out more about that. Here is my Ganesh. Last night, we brought some serious Ganesh energy here. We had such a hard time getting on the music block, getting Mama Gina up to play. And I know people probably got tired of hearing me go blah blah blah, but we had to fill some time to get. And so we started saying, hey, let's get some Ganesh energy up. Let's do the remover of obstacles. Let's do that. So being a pagan, some people might be atheist as a pagan. Some people might be polytheistic, but of one pantheon, Greek, Roman, one of the Norse traditions, and Ebony, it's all good. We all understand. There's nothing to be. Ebony is sorry about how the issues. We backfooted, and you know what? We proved the power of Ganesha. You were busy working. We all banded together, and it's what we do. It's what we do. So now we're asking you all to band together and please give so we can go to the Parliament of the World's Religions as paladins. We're close to the $2,000 mark. We really would like to have the 10,000. Once all is said and done with the auction, we'll be over that $2,000 mark. But I would like to see if we can push donations up until the end, and get us as close as we can to at least 5,000. That would be amazing. So I've been wearing like dresses and nice stuff, but I wore this just for talking about energy. I wore this just for the end of wrapping things up. I'm gonna have to stand up so you can see it, but you can see it's a Care Bear, right? Okay, it says "Get in, loser. Get in, loser. We're going caring. Get in, loser. We're going caring." And that could have been another motto for the Paladin's Road to the Parliament. Get in, loser. You're not losers though, but get in, Paladins. We're going caring, and we're bringing you along with us because we're representing the pagan community, the Wiccan community, the Correllians, and we're trying to show what good comes from when you bring a bunch of people into one area and talk about faith and what is sacred to us and getting that connection with the divine. That's going to be one big bowl yummy energy coming from all these different belief systems. And there's a reason I brought this all up as I'm heading into the next segment of my show, of the show here, is I was able to have a wonderful interview, sit down with Reverend Selena Fox from Circle Sanctuary. She is amazing. She is such a wonderful person and such a amazing person to be. I hesitate to put. I was going to say elder, but she is an elder, but an ambassador for our faith, because there's so much work that she does for the pagan community. She works with UU. So many things behind the scenes that you may not know that Selena Fox does. One of the things, and she's not the only one. I'm going to go ahead and put that caveat out there. She is not the only one who worked really hard with the Department of Veterans Affairs, which is not the same thing as the Department of Defense. That's active duty military. But once you're out of the military, a lot of most of our, like almost every single person who served at least a little bit active duty goes into the Department of Veterans Affairs. And the Department of Defense has been protecting pagan rights for quite some time. And Selena was part of that. She'll be talking about that here in the interview. But the Veterans Affairs are different, and it's been hard to get representation for the grave markers. We've all seen Arlington, it brings that chill. We've all seen these veteran cemeteries filled with our heroes. Most of them are heroes, they're human too. They have their faults and everything, but they did sign the line to sacrifice everything for us. So I'm just going to say that out there. You can have whatever feelings you want to. That they're yours. I'm not going to tell you can't have them, but I'm going to tell you the bottom line is they did say, yeah, I'll give my all if I have to serve my country. And when they do pass, the people who were pagan were not allowed to have a pentacle on the gravestone. You had, Stars of David, you had crosses, no pentacle. And that's what they fight. That's what you fight for, is freedom. I want to start going into Celia's song. If you haven't heard it, it's the symbol, and it's about that freedom of choice, freedom of right, freedom of religion, and that's what we're talking about. So years and years went into it, and I'm trying to remember how long ago it came, but it was just April 23rd, I believe, was the day of the Pentacle Quest, they call it, when we were awarded the right to have the pentacle on the markers for veterans. Now, that was a big win for us, but it was also a win for all the other faiths that didn't have representation, because what they did is they had to change the system. And if you are a veteran or somebody who is active duty now, or somebody who is pagan or druid or even heathen, you need to let them know that they have to do their paperwork and tell before they pass, and have somebody trustworthy to make sure that their wishes get carried out. But they can do their paperwork and say that the symbol that they want is an Alwyn or a Mjolnir or a pentacle. I don't know if there's any flying spaghetti monsters yet. Wouldn't that be? I'll have to look into that. And at the very end of the month, Memorial Day is coming up. So this is heavy on a lot of people's minds. Make sure that your memorial wishes are set up, because we fought hard for it. Selena was part of that fight, just part of it. But Selena was an integral part of it. So you have to have your paperwork in. And a lot of people were upset at first because there were only pentacles and not Alwyns and not Mjolnirs. And then they were like, yay, we finally got an Alwyn. Hey, we finally got a Mjolnir. And I was like, that was bittersweet, because that meant somebody passed. Somebody has to die that asked for that before they can put it on there. But what a downer. The reason I'm bringing this all up is to put you in the frame of mind of interfaith. That is what the Parliament of the World's Religions is about. And that has been a lot of work that Selena Fox has done. She's done a lot for the pagan, Wiccan, Druid, that the whole community, the witches. She's done a lot of that for way back. Back before the internet, if you wanted to find groups, covens, interest groups, discussion groups, we didn't have Facebook. Eventually, we had Witchvox, but before that, there was this printed off copy of people, and that was Circle. Circle did that. This is way back. We stopped carving things on stone, and we started doing a photocopy. And yeah, that was Circle. And so I like to honor how much work that Selena Fox has done for the uh, whole faith systems that is pagan and Wiccan and Druid and our usually earth based beliefs. Um, I like to honor that, and I wanted to give you a little bit of this before we go into the interview. So I hope you really enjoy the interview, and while you're watching it, don't forget to donate. Check out the auction. Wonderful things in the auction still out there for you to get, and we'll be wrapping up later on. But I'm going to go ahead and do this again because we got more people on the stream. Get in, loser. We're going caring. It should say get in, paladins. We're going caring. I wore this especially for today, because that's what we're trying to do. And also, I wanted to say one last thing before we started is I am not a Correllian, but I've got involved with the Correllians through working with Selena. And there's a very close connection and kinship uh, between the Circle Sanctuary folks and the Correllian folks. And I hope you saw that last night with the interview with Laura Gonzalez. She's also a um, sorry, I'm reading something. I was at Circle Sanctuary in '94. She was working on the headstone issue. Yes, thank you, Eddie. That was a big deal. And she does have a pagan cemetery up on her lands in Circle Sanctuary. There is a green cemetery, a green cemetery. I keep telling people when I die, throw me out in the woods. Let the animals, let the bugs, let the elements get me, because that's what's supposed to happen. But you can't do that. So closest thing to it is the green cemetery up in Wisconsin on her lands at Circle Sanctuary. So I'm gonna hush now. I promise I'll be back after. If you have any questions or anything, you can throw them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. You can always find out more information about the work that Circle Sanctuary does, which is a lot of work. It's at www.circlesanctuary.org. So here we go with the Selena Fox interview.
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team on why it is important that we reach that goal.
Hello, I'm Right Reverend Sir Elizabeth, Program Director of the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. Thank you so much for tuning in to our weekend-long event as we raise $10,000 to bring a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions coming up in August. We need to house and feed about 20 of us over in Chicago for 7 days. And to do that, we're going to need at least 10 grand. So here's our ask. Go to Correllians.live/donate and make us a monetary donation to our cause. Every dollar helps. We also have psychic readers and an auction you can participate in too. If you can't make a monetary donation, then do us another very big favor and share the event with your friends over social media. You can find us on the Pagan World TV app on Roku, Correllians Live and Magic TV via YouTube, and Correllians.live via any web browser. Thank you so much for your help and enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. I am Reverend Sir Richard Donahue, also known as Cloud the Pagan Rapper, and I am a member of the Order of Paladins. Now, to help us send a contingent to the Parliament of World's Religions, to me, means one thing: community. It's the idea of coming together with multiple faiths for common goals. And it is paramount for the pagan community to have a seat at that table. And I, for one, am very, very proud that we are afforded this opportunity to do so. But to do that, we do need your help. We're trying to raise $10,000 so that we can feed and house the contingency of paladins that will be going to the Parliament. And it's through your help that we're going to be able to get there and represent the community in the best possible way that we can. So please, smash that donate button, all right? Smash that donate button. You can go to Correllians.live to donate. And I want to thank you guys for taking part in the telethon, okay? Check out our auction. Get yourself a reading from Divinationality. Do all of the things that we have provided for you throughout these 3 days, and let us come together in community and achieve our goal and allow us paladins to go and represent us at Parliament. Thank you very much. May you all blessed be.
One of the best things about Parliament is one of the best things that we need in our society, which is unity, compassion, and fellowship, which is something I'm extremely looking forward to. And I hope that this will be inspiration for the future in helping us to be more as one in a community. So join us. Continue to join us. Thank you for sharing and liking our posts. And please continue to sponsor us.
At the Parliament of World Religions in 2023, I'm personally looking forward to broad exposure and deep engagement with various wisdom traditions from around the world, particularly as regards pressing issues from today and future goals for our human journey. I expect that I'll be able to incorporate much of the learning back into my own personal path, as well as share tangible insights back into the metaphysical and spiritual community that I work within.
From all of us here at the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, we want to thank you again for your support. Please be sure to check out Divination Alley and get yourself a reading. Or check out our online auction that is overflowing with wonderful craft items, books, and services for sale. Remember, our goal is to raise $10,000, so please help us spread the word about the event, our cause, and be sure to stay tuned for more. So thank you all again, and may you all blessed be. Enjoy the telethon.
Good evening, day, night, whatever, wherever it is, whatever is happening where you're at. But we know for the next, this is a 50-hour telethon. We're doing kind of live. This is a little bit canned, but it's okay. You can understand because we've got somebody who's extremely busy. Senior minister, head priestess of Circle Sanctuary, and somebody that's very dear to my heart, Lady Selena Fox. Thank you for being here today for the Road to the Parliament 2023. Do you say 2023 or 2023? Correllians Live Telethon, another 50 hours of magic and community. So welcome.
Great to be here, bringing in the May with our time together today. And I'm so glad to be one of those supporting this Road to the Parliament programming that the Correllians are doing. I'm coming to you from Circle Sanctuary Nature Preserve. We have our 3-day Beltane Festival underway, and it's wonderful to be able to contribute to this wonderful endeavor and to celebrate pagans and interfaith and pagans at the Parliament. This will be our 30th anniversary of pagans being at the Parliament of the world's religions.
30 years. There's a lot of history that you've seen and that you've been part of. The Parliament is really important. I want to delve into that in a minute, but first of all, one of the things that how you and I met is through the military, and I was a distinctive faith group leader that you sponsored. Thank you so much. it was an honor to do that. But a lot of people don't know the history that Circle was part of with paganism and the military. I don't want to go into too much detail, but you were mentioning before we started today that the anniversary of Pentacle Quest is coming up, and that to me is extremely important that people understand where we've been in this journey. Do you mind telling people about it?
Yeah, the first U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs markers for deceased veterans that had a pentacle inscribed on the marker manifested on May 1st, 2007. So not only do we celebrate Beltane every year as May comes on, but we also celebrate that victory. Circle Sanctuary, with the help of not only a variety of pagan individuals and groups, but people from a variety of different religions, spiritualities, and philosophies came together in the 10-year quest to get the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to add the pentacle to its list of emblems authorized to be included on gravestones, memorial markers, and headstones that the VA issued for deceased veterans. I'm thankful for the Correllian support in the Pentacle Quest, and I'm thankful that we are continuing to celebrate that victory. It required not only going through various governmental processes, administrative through the executive branch, legislative, Capitol Hill. There were people from both Democrats and Republicans that were on board working with me and with Roberta Stewart, the widow of Sergeant Patrick Stewart, the first Wiccan killed in action in Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan in 2005. But we had a widespread support, and it's great to be able to celebrate this victory. There are now more than 200 U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs memorial markers that have been issued for Wiccan and other pagan deceased veterans. And they're in cemeteries, not only public cemeteries, but some private cemeteries across the USA and beyond. So I'm so thankful that we can celebrate this. And now there's even more pagan symbols on the list. And interfaith collaboration and cooperation really supported that quest. And that's one of the reasons it's very important for paganism and pagans to be able to be engaged with interreligious endeavors such as the Parliament.
I was going to say the start of May, Beltane, the end of May is Memorial Day. So this is a good chance for people to find out if there's a veteran cemetery nearby, to find out if there's a pentacle or an Awen or a Molnir. The thing that a lot of people don't know is that when Pentacle Quest came to be, it opened the door, like you mentioned, for other symbols to be accepted. It's a bittersweet one. Things
so Pam, your sound just cut out and I lost the last. Yeah, so do you need to start from the top, or are you going to edit it?
This is the wonders of life, whatever it is. I'll just go, we can just roll with it. We can roll with the gremlins. But I just wanted people to know a little bit more about it, not go into great detail, because this is not about necessarily Pentacle Quest, but I think it's really important for people to understand a little about the history of paganism in our country, where we've come from, people meeting in parlors, reading books. Where are we now? And do you mind giving, because you are so ingrained in woven into the history of paganism in our country.
Well, thank you for asking and for your good words. Paganism has had some interfaith dimensions to it as it started becoming more visible in the US and other parts of the world in the 20th century. One of the really wonderful things that has happened is now that we have multiple ways to communicate, pagans in different countries around the world through social media, through translation devices and other ways, are able to connect and collaborate with each other to share some of their successes and challenges, and to come together online and in person at events that not only bring pagans of many paths together, but pagans being able to connect with people of other beliefs and philosophies, be they called religions or spiritualities or worldviews. So if we go back to the 1960s and paganism, we have paganism starting to be noticed. There were newspaper articles, magazine articles that started to happen in different parts of the world. So paganism started being visible before the social media time, before the interfaith, before the internet time, started becoming visible in the public media. And in the 1970s, there were some conferences that brought people together from different beliefs and some festivals. Out of Llewellyn Publications, Carl Weschke had, and those working with him, had the Gnosticons. And I went to Gnosticon 6 as one of the speakers and as a musician. And there certainly were many pagans that were present, but there were also magical practitioners from other traditions that were gathered together for that conference. Then, as we moved into the late 1970s, as pagan festivals started happening, one of the first festivals was the Pan-Pagan Festival. And I began doing interfaith research with one of the predominant scholars of American religious diversity, Reverend Dr. J. Gordon Melton, was at the Pan-Pagan Festival, and he was very interested in understanding paganism and being able to research it, and got permission from the organizers to be present. And he and I began a long relationship and connection. He, for his day job, was a Methodist minister, a pastor of a church. And he was the head of the Institute for the Study of American Religion. There were some pagans at that gathering who were surprised to have a Christian minister there interested in paganism and doing research. Weren't quite sure about that, but I was totally on board with being able to talk with him and help with the research. And over the years, academia has been a area where there's been interreligious understanding. I started Circle Sanctuary back in 1974 and realized in order to bring together people connected with nature in a sacred way, Wiccans and Druids and heathens and many different forms of paganism and other nature spirituality paths, it was really important for us to find a way to evolve pagan institutions. So Circle Sanctuary has in common with the Correllians a multi-generational and long-standing institutions, not only serving pagans, but also being part of that larger world of religious and spiritual life. And that's been really an important thing. As pagan festivals started happening outdoors and bringing people from many different traditions together in the late 70s, I had occasion in 1979 to do a hand fasting at the Pan-Pagan Festival that year. It turned out Time magazine found out about the festival and showed up, and actually an article about paganism as a religion appeared on the religion page in the 1970s. 1979 was a really important year because that's when The Spiral Dance came out, was published, and Drawing Down the Moon by Margot Adler, A History of Paganism. And that was the year that Circle Sanctuary published its first Circle Guide to Wicca and Pagan Resources. So Starhawk had a book of rituals. Margot had a book of pagan history and perspectives, and I had a directory of pagan resources. This was all pre-internet. And I do think by bringing those three publications out in public, it not only helped pagans of different paths connect with each other, but for people that had no idea that paganism even existed and that were involved with other religious organizations or philosophies, it was a way to be able to connect and understand. So there's been interfaith publishing connections that have gone on. And then in 1980, I was at the Interfaith Human Unity Conference in Chicago. And that was a very early interfaith conference that brought together not only religious leaders from many different faith traditions from around the world, not just the USA, but pagans were included. There weren't many of us, and I was one of the speakers. And I give thanks to Reverend Dr. J. Gordon Melton for the invite that made it possible for me to speak there and do some of the music. So as the 80s started unfolding, there was increasing awareness about the importance of looking at ancient practices for connecting with nature in sacred ways, and to really take a look at the divine and how the divine is depicted. The rise of ecofeminism, of feminist spirituality, goddess spirituality, and environmental spirituality really helped bring about more bridges of interfaith understanding and collaboration. And in 1988, Margot Adler and I were invited to be part of the very first World Council of Churches International Interfaith Women's Dialogue Conference. It was held in Canada at Victoria University, and Margot and I were there, not only representing goddess traditions, but paganism as a whole. We were clearly in the minority, and many of the women that were there from other world religions had never heard of paganism before, including some of the indigenous people who were practicing traditional ways. They had not encountered similar ways, but rooted in old European practices. So that was another really important interreligious event that helped paganism connect with the interfaith world.
Wow. I'm listening and I'm like, my brain is going along with you. I liked when you talked about Wesky's, Carlywell and Wesky's meetings and conferences and such, because I remember when he passed, having the tribute we did for him, and you and Mr. Buckland, Raymond Buckland, and Oberon, I think, having a conversation, old friends, and it just means a lot to me as somebody to have that history, our own history. That's kind of new. You brought up Margot. I think you can see my drawing down the moon behind me. That's like common. Everyone has to have drawing down the moon, especially pagans of a certain age, drawing down the moon and spiral dance. Margot did a lot of work with the UU as well, the Unitarian Universalists, with cups and such. That's another area, right, where pagans can work interfaith. Is it interfaith or intrafaith? Because the UU have absorbed some pagans, and the UU also does a lot of work for social justice, for social issues. Is that one of the areas? Maybe basically tell me a little bit more about your specific work and maybe how the UU works.
Yes, well, in addition to being senior minister of Circle Sanctuary and high priestess of the Circle Craft tradition, which is one of the many paths that are woven together in our more universalist nature spirituality practices of the Circle Sanctuary community, I've been on the circuit of presenting sermons and conducting religious services at Unitarian Universalist churches for now more than 40 years. And Margot and I had much in common in terms of not only being rooted in a variety of different pagan traditions, specifically pagan traditions, but being supporters of the covenant of Unitarian Universalist pagans. And we have Circle Sanctuary ministers who are part of the covenant of Unitarian Universalists. And it's a wonderful, wonderful to be able to see that kind of intersectionality, not only in terms of social justice causes, but within the UUA, which is another way of referring to the Unitarian Universalists, the Unitarian Universalist Association, you have a real understanding of common ground, bringing people together on principles and values, and the sixth source, really taking a look at the interconnectedness of all nature, that came into being as a result of pagan and Unitarian Universalist interconnections. And the seventh principle, which is also looking at that interconnection of in the rhythms of nature as being an important part of Unitarian Universalist practice. So I have been speaking at Unitarian Universalist churches in a variety of capacities, often as a guest minister, conducting a Sunday service at various congregations and fellowships and circles across the USA. And it's been really a wonderful journey. And a book came out from Skinner House, which is a Unitarian Universalist publishing house. And I want to give thanks to Jerry Hildebrand, a Circle Sanctuary minister, and someone who has helped guide CUPS over the years, and not only being the head of CUPS for many, many years, and now supporting people who are taking on that work. But she was one of the editors, as well as Shirley Rank with Cakes for the Queen of Heaven. So within the Unitarian Universalist world, you have goddess spirituality and pagan spirituality and eco-spirituality all converging. every congregation and community is different, but that has been a really wonderful relationship over the decades. And I'm thankful to continue to have that as part of Circle Sanctuary's partnership and connections is to our relationships with Unitarian Universalists. Just a few weeks ago, we had a youth group who are taking part in a interfaith education program called Building Bridges from the largest UU church in Madison, Wisconsin, which is near Circle Sanctuary Nature Preserve. And every year we've been having a youth group come out with the adults who are teachers and guides for it to learn about paganism through a visit to Circle Sanctuary Nature Preserve. And when they were out, we were up at the stone circle and did some ritual and were able to answer questions and to connect. So there's many different ways that we've been able to connect with UU individuals and communities over the years. And we've also had the opportunity to connect with different conferences. I've been at the General Assembly for the Unitarian Universalists several times, have spoken there. And I want to give thanks to two Circle Sanctuary ministers, not only Jerry Hildebrand, but Deborah Rose, who also is part of our podcasting ministry, CSNP, Circle Sanctuary Network Podcast, for their ongoing work with UU congregations and pagans who are UU.
Yeah, I love being back part with the podcasting that Circle Sanctuary is doing. I think you were talking about the different varying ways that we grew in our community, starting out with the books, and a lot of people don't know your circle, the guides. That was very fundamental to start building that community. Everyone early on in paganism had that. Where are then on to Witch Vox, and now look where we've come. Now we don't necessarily have to focus on UU, but I like how UU helps, how it's interwoven with paganism to the point where a lot of times that might be a way that we can, as pagans, enter into institutions, like maybe it's less scary to some people to have UU come in into campuses, into hospitals, into, so I'd like to know, like I said, you don't have to focus on the UU, but tell us how paganism is moving into these institutions. Like we've already talked a little bit about the military.
Yeah, well, and there is a book that I should mention too, that has contributions from a number of pagans with connections with UUs and pagan voices, pagan and earth-centered voices in Unitarian Universalism. And so Jerry and Shirley put together this anthology. I was one of the contributors. There's stuff from Margot in there and Starhawk and a number of other people. John Beckett, he's a blogger who's done a lot of work. And I see a mutually productive relationship with UUs in that I think that the pagans who are part of the UU realm have been able to contribute ceremonies and chants and meditations and a lot of spiritual material and lore from the ancient past, as well as contemporary practices as UU congregations branch out and celebrate the seasons. So there are solstice celebrations, and I have done Beltanes at UU services. I mean, that's really a fabulous thing. And then I think pagans have benefited, and paganism as a whole have benefited from Unitarian Universalists being a model of converging diversity on some common principles and to be a welcoming space. And because Unitarian Universalists, which is really the merger of the Unitarians and the Universalists together, two different religious connections that are now one. Yes, some pagans have had multiple affiliations because they have wanted, for example, youth education and being able to be at an institution where it's a safe space for pagans. Pagans are welcome, and also being able to have one's children be able to connect with other children with similar values. So I really see a lot of wonderful things that have happened there. I also want to talk a bit about chaplaincy, which is another important interfaith connection that pagans and paganism has had over the years. In fact, my entry into the chaplaincy world began in the 1970s, shortly after founding Circle Sanctuary. There, I got calls from pagans in local hospitals that needed some support while they were there. And some of the pagans were connected with Circle Sanctuary, our community, but some were unaffiliated. And in the 1970s, I started building bridges of understanding and collaboration with chaplains in a variety of healthcare facilities, so that as they had people who identified as pagans come into their institutions, that they would have either myself or other people's connected with Circle Sanctuary that we referred them to, be able to have appropriate spiritual care for those in hospitals. And that's really expanded out to mental hospitals, hospices, birthing centers. And so over the years, I've been developing relationships with prison chaplains, healthcare chaplains, hospice chaplains, campus chaplains, military chaplains, and there's the whole realm of chaplaincy is something that provides support to people through various institutions. And it's really important that pagans are not only understood by chaplains of other faiths, but there be pagan chaplains. So Circle Sanctuary is one of the pagan churches that endorses and trains chaplains for various institutions. We have hospice chaplains and healthcare chaplains, and we also are in the realm of lay chaplaincy. And it really depends on the type of chaplain as to what the connection might be. I was asked by Carl Weschke back in the early 1980s to be the contact person with the with the Pentagon's Army Chaplains Handbook project. He oversaw the first edition, which was in 1978. And at that time, Reverend Dr. J. Gordon Melton was the one that was putting together that very first Army Chaplains Handbook. And Carl Weschke and the American Council of Witches were listed in that first Army Chaplains Handbook. Well, 1983, by that time, the American Council of Witches connections were still there, but the formal organization shifted. And instead of being something that was growing, it more disbanded. And as a result, Carl thought it was important to pass on the updates of the Wiccan section to an institution and somebody with that institution that would continue with that project. And so I had a hand in revising one of the second edition of the Army Chaplain's Handbook. And then through interreligious and intrafaith connections, Covenant of the Goddess also was able to contribute to a later edition of the Army Chaplain's Handbook. I also, because of my work with prison ministry and chaplaincy, for more than 30 years, I have been providing input with the U.S. Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Prisons, and in 1992 was invited to start contributing information to the Technical Reference Manual, which has information about diverse spiritual traditions. It's now an internal document. You can find some older versions online still. But I actually think the interfaith connections with institutions have been good for the institutions to be more reflective of religious pluralism in America. But it's also been helpful for pagan traditions that have participated in that, because it does widen the circle of established religious organizations and traditions. And that's a really important thing. The Pluralism Project out of Harvard University is something else that emerged in the early 1990s with a CD-ROM called On Common Ground. And there is an excellent interfaith research site that the Pluralism Project, which is part of Harvard Divinity School of Harvard University, pluralism.org, you will find that paganism is among the world religions that have been studied and has information available for the general public about different pagan traditions and institutions. And I want to give thanks to Dr. Diana Eck, who not only was part of that World Council of Churches International Interfaith Dialogue Conference for Women. She's the one that invited Margot and I to take part, but she was the mastermind of the Pluralism Project, and it continues on. There have been a number of international interfaith events and institutions over the years where pagans have been included. An example is the Charter of Compassion, a Charter for Compassion. And Circle Sanctuary was one of the founding members of that. And the Charter for Compassion is really taking what some people call the golden rule as a common denominator across a number of different religious and spiritual traditions. And it's been exciting to be part of that project. And there is now an international interfaith environmental convergence. It's called Green Faith, and Circle Sanctuary is the first pagan church to have a group that's part of the International Environmental Interfaith Green Faith Organization. And coming out of that work has been our Blue Marble podcast. And we have not only had pagans on that podcast that one of our eco-chaplains, Char Bear, does every month, but we have had people from a variety of different backgrounds and beliefs, environmental scientists included. So I see a lot of excellent things happening when people of different traditions come together. And when we talk about interfaith, I know the word faith is not a good fit for everybody and their belief systems. However, as Circle Sanctuary works with Interfaith, we really see a convergence of different worldviews and philosophies. So in addition to working with people from different religions, the world religions, and spiritualities, people that would call themselves spiritual but not religious, we also work with free thinkers, humanists, agnostics, and atheists. And we see them as all part of the circle of connecting for many viewpoints and ways of being. And there is common ground. And I think it's really important that pagan interfaith work not only continue, but continues to bloom and grow and blossom. And I'm so thankful to be part of this event highlighting that good work.
I've got a thought though. I know that my work with working with the chaplains in the military, first of all, let's take a step back. Chaplains usually are people of faith, but they're not the preachers. They're not there to they're more there for your spirit, right? They're more there for spiritual comfort. And especially with the military, chaplains have to give accommodation to, that's part of why we did the handbook for the chaplains in the military. So if you have a chaplain that doesn't have any experience in paganism, Wicca, heathenism, they have something to go on. But one thing that they always asked me when we would have our conversations, our interfaith conversations, trying to understand each other better, if they're Christian, they have a Bible. If they're, Jewish, there's a lot of good books, the Quran for the Muslim. There's a lot of people that say, like, where's your book? Where do you learn about this? So how do you religious studies basically is what I'm trying to get into. How do we study in our faith?
Well, and one of the things that I've had the opportunity to do over the years is training of federal chaplains in corrections, as well as some state chaplains in corrections. And I've done diversity education for chaplains in the military and in the VA and on campuses and in a variety of different settings. And I talk about the Abrahamic religions being people of the book, because you do have texts, sacred texts that are connected with the three Abrahamic religions. I also talk about how there are sacred texts in the religions that are rooted in the Near East and in Asia. Then I talk about nature religions and nature traditions. And in giving that big overview at trainings I do, I talk about the book of nature. And that instead of having a book, a sacred text, one sacred text that's been transmitted through a human, that those of us involved in nature-centered spirituality, we also have teachings and understandings. We take that directly from nature. And I do think as more people have understood the nature-centered connections of many pagan traditions and related traditions, I think that has built some bridges of understanding. I did a podcast for many years called Nature Mystic, and I often will use the nature mystic term as an interreligious term because there have been nature mystics throughout all the world religions. And they aren't always called a nature mystic, but if you look through the world's religions, you will find traditions where people derive inspiration, transformation through nature communion. And I see that that's another connecting link. And as the environmental movement has continued to grow and expand, there is now a greater understanding that if you're going to have an interfaith environmental event, you better invite the pagans. We exist and we have good things to share. And I'm happy to say that when the climate strike happened around autumnal equinox time in 2019, that within Madison, Wisconsin, there not only was a big rally at the state capitol, but prior to that rally, there were several interfaith services at various churches near the state capitol. And I was one of the speakers at one of those interfaith rallies. And we had another Circle Sanctuary minister at another one of the interfaith services that preceded the big rally. So, and there was a UU pagan guiding a chant at the rally. So pagans were fully present. I know that there have been a variety of marches and rallies and conferences about the environment and the need to really work together across belief systems, across national boundaries, across all this diversity. And there have been pagans at events at the United Nations representing paganism. And one of the things I'm looking forward to at the Parliament of the World's Religions 2023 in Chicago, and that's August 14th through 18th, is the day before the Parliament officially begins, there's going to be a parade of faiths. And having been one of the sponsoring organizations and at the 1993 Parliament, the centennial rebirth of the Parliament of the World's Religions, I was part of the grand procession that went in of the different faith traditions present to the opening plenary. And what I'm looking forward to is being part of this grand procession that will be happening in Chicago 30 years later. And I'd like to say a little bit about the Parliament in our time together. In 1993, it was considered a big stretch for some religious leaders and denominations and institutions to have pagans present at the 1993 Parliament of the World's Religions. In fact, the Greek Orthodox delegation left because of the pagans, and it made quite a bit of headlines. So this is an example of a need to do more education and collaboration. And I don't think there was a real understanding that interfaith not only brought together monotheist, but polytheist, and that one of the ways of honoring the divine is in one or more forms of the divine feminine. So when Lady Olivia Robertson of the Fellowship of Isis invoked the goddess and nature spirits on the main stage at the opening plenary, there were some eyebrows raised. When the 5 different sponsoring pagan organizations had each of their 5 representatives in the opening procession, we were all a colorful lot. They didn't put us all together, and a lot of traditions that were represented there were in more uniform dress, while Circle Sanctuary probably had the most diverse dress in that we represented many different paths of paganism that we were there. So we weren't trying to draw a lot of attention to ourselves, just being ourselves in this grand convergence. Well, we were able to finally get permission at the very first Parliament of the 20th century to have a pagan ritual in the park near the Palmer House where the Parliament was held. But it did take some lawyering up and some internal communications. And I'm happy to report that The ceremony went well. I was one of the many people. I wasn't organizing it, I was contributing to it. And, you know, there was so much brouhaha about pagans having a ceremony in the park that it caught the media attention. And we got even more attention being present at that first parliament. I actually think that while not everybody understood paganism and not everybody really wanted to include us, there's been a lot of growth and development since then, and increasing numbers of pagans have played roles in parliament staffing and administration over the years. And I'm so thankful for the Correllians' long-standing support of the Parliament of the World's Religions, as well as thankful for other groups, Earth Spirit Community and Covenant of the Goddess, Fellowship of Isis, and of course Circle Sanctuary. We've been also part of the Parliament since its centennial rebirth back in 1993. And what I'm really excited about is that there will be even more pagan traditions, practitioners, and organizations being represented at the Parliament in 2023. And I'm hoping that we will be able not only to connect with other pagans taking part, but to continue to build those bridges of understanding with people from different religious backgrounds and spiritual traditions and beliefs. And most importantly, not only to have better understanding, but forging deeper collaborations and partnerships to work for a healthier planet, for equity, equality, liberty, justice for all, and a healthy planet that not only is good for humans, but the plants and the creatures and the ecosystems. We are all interconnected. And the Parliament is a wonderful opportunity to be able to not only be there and celebrate with pagans and interfaith that are part of it, but to really expand one's own understanding about the diversity in belief and worldview across faith traditions, belief systems, across languages and national boundaries and cultures. So I'm very thankful to be part of this road to the Parliament, and encourage all of you who are tuning in to join the Parliament in person if you can, in spirit if you aren't physically able to take part. And I'm sure there's going to be some pop-up live streams and other ways to connect virtually. And I am so thankful to be part of this pre-Parliament preparation event. And I think that pagans and interfaith will continue to make history and herstory as we move ahead into not only the Parliament this year, but in times to come.
You gave me a wonderful wrap up, but I want to bring it back just a little bit, because one thing that we haven't talked about, two things we haven't talked about. You brought up a lot about the Circle Sanctuary Network podcasts, and we talked about a lot about the interconnectedness and international and all, but we cannot talk about Chicago, international, and Circle Sanctuary Network podcasting without the manager of Circle Sanctuary and the work that she has done, Laura Gonzalez, with spreading paganism and Circle Sanctuary through the Spanish language world. There's a lot of pagans who speak Spanish, Spanish as their primary language across the world, and also Portuguese. Portuguese has been added too. Can we bring the international into this, and then we can wrap things up?
Oh, absolutely. And I am very thankful for Laura taking on the management role for CSNP. And I'm thankful to you, Pam, for being part of our podcasting team. I'm thankful for not only all our podcasters, but those who are helping with engineering and publicity in other ways. I think it's really essential that as pagans come together in interreligious realms, that we recognize how diverse paganism is, and to really look at paganism as world religion. And we had, Laura and I did some teaching together at the most recent Parliament, which was online, and now we're back in person, and I think there'll be some other online dimensions to it. It's very important to include pagans of different national origins and locations and different language groups. And I am so thankful for the Pagans of the World podcast that happens every Saturday night. And I know that Laura has done not only multilingual interfaith networking, but multicultural interfaith networking. And at the Parliament, one of the wonderful things that's happened in 1993, the Parliament rebirthed. It was first held 1893 in Chicago, and it rebirthed in Chicago. In 1999, we were in Cape Town, South Africa. And pagans from several different countries, not just the US, but there were pagans connected with Circle Sanctuary in South Africa that were part of that. And yes, we were a multilingual bunch then. And then in 2004, at the Parliament of World Religions in Barcelona, Spain, we had pagans from most of the continents in the world. No one was there from Antarctica, but we had pagans from a variety of different European countries, as well as Australia and New Zealand, Polynesia and Japan, South America, the US and Canada, and Africa. There were people there from South Africa. So in 2004, we actually, the Parliament had little radios they gave everyone because there were so many languages being spoken in Europe. And although English and French were the main languages, they wanted to make sure that the plenaries could be attended and heard in languages from all around the world. And I give thanks for Laura's work and all the podcasters that are part of her multilingual podcasting that we've been doing in recent years, and that she did even before CSNP happened, because it's important to recognize how diverse paganism is and to have some language available to people who don't speak English as their main language or don't speak English at all. So I give thanks for that. You know, in 2009, the Parliament was held in Australia, and there the Aboriginal dimension was highlighted as part of expanding the diversity of Indigenous traditional ways, practitioners, and traditions. And that has continued to grow since the centennial rebirth in 1993. And I also want to give thanks to Laura and to some other people in our community, including Chip Brown, who's part Lenape and Mi'kmaq, and to Nicholas C., who was at the 1993 Parliament, who's part Shoshone, and to Shante, who has strong connections with the Lakota community and Kiowa. We have, within the Circle Sanctuary community, have already had people with multiple connections, ancestral heritage connections, as well as networking connections with people involved in traditional ways. Not everybody doing a traditional way would call what they're doing nature religion. I use that term when I'm doing diversity training to help do some better understanding about what we all have in common. And I really think the growth in the diversity of people that are connected with animistic, nature-centered traditions from around the world has been one of the greatest contributions of the Parliament. And pagans have been able to build connections with people from different tribes that we wouldn't normally be making contact with because they're in remote places. At the Parliament in Toronto in 2018, which was the last time it was held in person before this year, and in 2015 it was in Salt Lake City. So at the Parliament in 2018, I was able to connect with an elder from the Amazon. There was a translator present, and what we had in common was protecting forest. He was definitely there to stand up for the rainforest, and I went to the session and was able to connect with him, and a priestess of the sun in the Shinto religion, Amaterasu, who was in her 80s, was there in person in Toronto and spoke fairly good English. So we were able to connect and share our shared practices, different, but working with the sun in sacred ways was something that connected us. And those are just two examples from my own experience of being able to really not only have a multilingual support to make communication happening, but being able to talk with other people that have nature so central to their own beliefs and their community practices. So thanks for checking in about that multilingual piece that we do. And I also want to just mention the American Academy of Religions and the work that has played in the realm of religious studies. And I'm sharing this. My husband, Dr. Dennis Carpenter, a psychology professor for many years with the University of Wisconsin system, and now he's a professor emeritus. But in the 1990s, we helped birth what was then called the Nature Religion Scholars Network with some other pagans who were in academia. And so in 1995 in Philadelphia, we gathered together and really thought it was important to have pagan studies get recognized within the foremost professional institution for religious studies professionals and professors and researchers. And I'm happy to report that others have continued on with that work. Dennis and I are both academically in the psychology realm rather than religious studies realm. As this endeavor got started, it seemed very appropriate to turn it over to the pagans and the religious studies realm, and that's what's happened, and it's really been fabulous. So the realm of pagan studies is another way that interfaith connection and collaboration has come to be, and I'm very excited about that continuing. And there are professors that are offering courses at various universities, colleges, and other educational institutions about world religions and including pagans. We aren't where we need to be, and religious freedom is such an important thing to focus on. And some of
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team.
I apologize about that. That is total user error. I was trying to get ahead and get the donation break ready for when it was time, but I'll try to bring us the very end.
You're watching
Let
the
me see if it'll let me
2023
do it. Let
Correllians
me go
Live
all the
Telethon.
way
The team
through. I'll go ahead and close that and see if I can get all the way to the last few minutes of where we were, close to where we were.
We had pagans from most of the continents in the world. No one was there from Antarctica, but we had pagans from a variety of different European countries, as well as Australia and New Zealand, Polynesia and Japan, South America, the US and Canada, and Africa. There were people there from South Africa. So in 2004, we actually, the Parliament had little radios they gave everyone because there were so many languages being spoken in Europe. And although English and French were the main languages, they wanted to make sure that the plenaries could be attended and heard in languages from all around the world. And I give thanks for Laura's work and all the podcasters that are part of her multilingual podcasting that we've been doing in recent years, and that she did even before CSNP happened, because it's important to recognize how diverse paganism is and to have some language available to people who don't speak English as their main language or don't speak English at all. So I give thanks for that. You know, in 2009, the Parliament was held in Australia, and there the Aboriginal dimension was highlighted as part of expanding the diversity of Indigenous traditional ways, practitioners, and traditions. And that has continued to grow since the centennial rebirth in 1993. And I also want to give thanks to Laura and to some other people in our community, including Chip Brown, who's part Lenape and Mi'kmaq, and to Nicholas C., who was at the 1993 Parliament, who's part Shoshone, and to Shante, who has strong connections with the Lakota community and Kiowa. We have, within the Circle Sanctuary community, have already had people with multiple connections, ancestral heritage connections, as well as networking connections with people involved in traditional ways. Not everybody doing a traditional way would call what they're doing nature religion. I use that term when I'm doing diversity training to help do some better understanding about what we all have in common. And I really think the growth in the diversity of people that are connected with animistic, nature-centered traditions from around the world has been one of the greatest contributions of the Parliament. And pagans have been able to build connections with people from different tribes that we wouldn't normally be making contact with because they're in remote places. At the Parliament in Toronto in 2018, which was the last time it was held in person before this year, and in 2015 it was in Salt Lake City. So at the Parliament in 2018, I was able to connect with an elder from the Amazon. There was a translator present, and what we had in common was protecting forest. He was definitely there to stand up for the rainforest, and I went to the session and was able to connect with him, and a priestess of the sun in the Shinto religion, Amaterasu, who was in her 80s, was there in person in Toronto and spoke fairly good English. So we were able to connect and share our shared practices, different, but working with the sun in sacred ways was something that connected us. And those are just two examples from my own experience of being able to really not only have a multilingual support to make communication happening, but being able to talk with other people that have nature so central to their own beliefs and their community practices. So thanks for checking in about that multilingual piece that we do. And I also want to just mention the American Academy of Religions and the work that has played in the realm of religious studies. And I'm sharing this. My husband, Dr. Dennis Carpenter, a psychology professor for many years with the University of Wisconsin system, and now he's professor emeritus. But in the 1990s, we helped birth what was then called the Nature Religion Scholars Network with some other pagans who were in academia. And so in 1995 in Philadelphia, we gathered together and really thought it was important to have pagan studies get recognized within the foremost professional institution for religious studies professionals and professors and researchers. And I'm happy to report that others have continued on with that work. Dennis and I are both academically in the psychology realm rather than religious studies realm. As this endeavor got started, it seemed very appropriate to turn it over to the pagans and the religious studies realm. And that's what's happened. And it's really been fabulous. So the realm of pagan studies is another way that interfaith connection and collaboration has come to be. And I'm very excited about that continuing. And there are professors that are offering courses at various universities, colleges, and other educational institutions about world religions and including pagans. We aren't where we need to be, and religious freedom is such an important thing to focus on. And some of the advances in interfaith collaboration and acceptance have come from religious freedom battles that pagans have done. Not only defeating the Helms Amendment in 1985, federal legislation, which would have taken away tax-exempt status from American pagan churches, Wiccan churches in particular, but in 1999, defeating federal legislation that would have made it illegal for Wiccans in the military to practice their religion at military installations. And then from 1997 to 2007, the Pinnacle Quest. Well, in each of those federal battles, part of our success was from the pagans of many traditions being willing to come together and work together for the common good. But we also had allies in a variety of Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Baha'i, and a whole range of other world religion traditions, as well as had free thinkers and secular humanists supporting us. And Lady Liberty League sees that it's important for our work, which is the Pagan Civil Rights and Religious Freedom branch of Circle Sanctuary and our ministry work. We think it's really important not only to address discrimination and harassment against pagans when it occurs, but part of our work has been forging these opportunities to connect with each other and to work together. And I am so thankful for this opportunity to give thanks to the Correllians for many years of collaboration on religious freedom work, on interfaith work, on environmental work, on the sacred work of bringing more love and well-being into the world. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And more information about Circle Sanctuary and the things that we will be doing at the Parliament, you can go to circlesanctuary.org, and you can also find information about our podcast And we have a variety of podcasts in the archives from past parliaments and some other interreligious connections and endeavors at CSNP. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to share some thoughts and perspectives, experiences as part of this Road to the Parliament event.
Thank you so much, Lady Selena, for being here and reminding us how important this event is and why it's so important for our paladins to make it there to Chicago. So if you can give for our 50 hours here at the telethon. And thank you again, Selena, for joining us today. And have a happy Beltane, Circle Sanctuary. Well, that ended abruptly. Hi, I'm the white square that speaks to you. I gotta turn my camera on. They're having Circle Sanctuary is having their Beltane celebration this weekend, so that's why we were not able to to have her live. But I'm very glad that she gave us some of her time. Sorry I had to go back, but it's okay. I can listen to Selena forever. If you're the same as me, oh my gosh. If you go to circlesanctuary.org, you can see links to the archive podcasts that she's done. Definitely join her with the Circle Sanctuary Network podcast. I get you know how some people don't like, I'm in the background and I just have to push buttons and I would like the spotlight. Here's my moment to step a little bit out of the spotlight and say I don't mind it one bit, because I'm the one that gets to produce her podcast now that I've got back to join the Circle Sanctuary Network podcast team, and I don't mind. I don't mind one bit. So I'm really glad of the advocacy and activism that she has done for our community. And I'm gonna be a little bit gonna look back. I've been working with the Circle Sanctuary as a distinctive faith group leader or non-chaplain lay leader. Basically, we don't have a pagan chaplain at this time. Hopefully that'll change soon. We've almost had one a couple times. I think we've got at least one who's in the reserves, but not one who is active duty. But it's something that we've been working on, and Selena's been part of that effort to make that happen. But we do have, like she was mentioning, we have when I started doing it, it's called a distinctive faith group leader. And then when I left, they had changed it to non-chaplain lay leader. But there's no chaplain, but we're able to come in. We don't have the full power of a chaplain, but we can come in and give spiritual support to pagans in the military and their families and civilians that are connected with installations as well, with the duty stations as well. And that is probably some of the most rewarding work that I have been involved in, and have made tons of friends and new family. So if you are in the military or near a military installation or prior military and you would like to get involved with something like that, definitely check out circlesanctuary.org and see how you can get involved with being part of their ministry to the military. She brought up Lady, I could never say that without all of my tongue. Lady Liberty League, so much work that she does here with yes, I wanted to say what Jim. I want to focus on what Jim is saying. She does so much work for the community, for the pagan community, and she gives opportunities. Without her, I would never have had the opportunity to do what I've done, to be able to reach out. So get involved. Get involved if you're near a military installation. If you're a veteran, see if you can get involved with, see if there's a VA chaplain. I think we do have some VA chaplains. That's one of the things that Selena and Circle Sanctuary have been working on. I think we've had at least one VA chaplain. So DoD, active duty military, and then veterans or after they've served their time. Totally different departments. Go figure. That's bureaucracy. So I've got to say, I worked really hard with the Circle as a distinctive faith group leader, and then I moved to North Carolina, where I'm not near a military installation. And I dove in. I also do a lot of political work, vote protection, disability rights, reproductive rights, a lot of things, seniors. So this is something, voting rights is something that I'm very passionate about. And I've been able to do a lot of work with it. But before, when I first got here to North Carolina, I just got involved with canvassing and just general organizing. And, I really wanted to. It was my dream to go ahead and go through her ordination, her the training, the courses that they do in order to get ordained by Circle Sanctuary. And I remember having a conversation with her back before the election in 2016, and I said, well, after this is over, maybe I can focus on doing the ordination. And she said, Pam, the work you're doing is very important as well. The work you're doing is very needed. If I get ordained, then I have to be careful. Do I take this hat off when I'm not ordained? In some respects, I have more power to be able to advocate. So I appreciate her threading the gauntlet, doing what she does to give voice to us in where the laws are being made, where the rules are being made, with policies being made, and that's something that I have been working towards. Hopefully, I'm not going to be Selena level, but I have been doing a lot of activism, and I'm saying this not as I look at me. I'm saying you can do this too. It takes us to get more involved. I'd like there to be more pagans on my phone banks. I would love there to be more pagans on my phone banks. Some of the work I do, I come out, I say I'm pagan, but I have to leave it at that because there's not enough representation for me to say yes. And I'm going to call upon, the power of the wisdom of Athena to make it through this. Or like last night when we were having issues with trying to load up one of the shows, Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde. I want to put a pin in that. Come back to that. But while we're trying to do it, we decided to call. And here's my Ganesha, right here. This little brass. That's my Ganesha on my altar. And a lot of us were talking about how much we appreciate what Ganesha brings to the conversation. So a lot of us were, calling on Ganesha to remove the obstacle of removing the obstacle of why can't we get the performer on the screen, and we got it. It eventually happened. So there you go. But going back to Mercury retrograde, don't fear Mercury retrograde. Just know it's a thing. It's every people go, oh, I'm gonna hide under a rock, and I'm like, no, just realize things are gonna happen. Pam's gonna load the next element and then cut off Selena at the very end and have to redo it. Don't sweat it. Just prepare for it. That's the best thing you can do. So I want to read. I don't want to post this because I want to read the what Eddie said here in chat because I wanted to make sure before I post it. Political stuff is asking for trouble. Some reason the majority of people assume pagans to be liberal. And I'm going to go ahead and post this because I've learned not really. No, we're not monolithic. I am liberal. I am more progressive. But no, we're not monolithic. There are conservative pagans. The one thing, though, that we do have to watch out for in some of the extreme conservative circles where we have people who are trying to usurp a part, the heathen, the Norse beliefs as a cover for white supremacy. And that's something that we definitely, I feel that, especially if you're a conservative pagan, that you need to stand up and draw a line there, because there's no room for that. I remember looking at like t-shirts popped up on my Facebook, old t-shirts I had, and one of them was Odin. Uh, it had like rainbow symbol for Odin, and it said he's the all father, not the son. I like that one. and Jim does bring up a good point as well, that sometimes when you come out of the broom closet and you get into these spaces, yeah, it does. Sometimes Jim says it gives us something to blame. It gives them. Sorry, Jim, I might have like totally misunderstood exactly what you're saying. I don't know if you're saying that it might give them a target on your back, because sometimes I feel that way. I get very frustrated because they started an interfaith caucus in my state, and it's inter-Abrahamic faith as far as I can tell, because I'm like, hey, I want to be part of that. Interfaith, that's what I'm about. So interfaith is what we're here for. Mercury retrograde. Thank you. Mercury retrograde. Jim was talking about Mercury retrograde, not the political stuff. That is classic Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde, Jim is 100% that it gives 100% correct. It gives us something to blame for our own shortcomings. But let me go ahead and elaborate on that. Things that are brought to the forefront during Mercury retrograde are things that you should probably focus on doing over. When you have to fix something that you might have like, oh, I'll come back to this later. Mercury retrograde, perfect time for that. Perfect time to go back and I'm not so good at this. Maybe I should learn that. All the things that Mercury rules, communication, computers, transportation, that's all stuff that you can go back and focus on. Now, I have in my green room, I don't know if I see the right reverend. Nope, I'm not supposed to say anything. I'm not supposed to say anything. Things are going on in the background here that you don't know about yet. It's a surprise. It's a surprise. People are loading up with their caffeine. I haven't had my caffeine yet. Isn't that horrible? And I'm still bouncy like this. How do I do it? I don't know. So we're nearing, it's been almost 50 hours of the main thing that I've enjoyed is the community and building community. So it's been almost 50 hours of the telethon. Magic, definitely had magic, even called upon Ganesh, and the full moon. Eddie brings up the full moon in Scorpio. Beltane, it is today is celestial. If you go by, I'm more of a person who goes by more of the celestial markings for the holidays, where when we have Ostara, Litha, um, Maven, Maban, and the winter solstice Yule. Those are all when the sun enters the cardinal signs. So when it enters Aries, Cancer, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So then when you're at 15 degrees, like right in the middle of the fixed sign, that's where we have the cross quarters. And we're in the middle of Taurus. And Taurus, we're entering our last 2 hours, so we're going to call some Taurus energy up here. If this is going to be Mercury retrograde and Taurus. If you haven't donated yet, now's the time to donate. If you haven't looked at the auctions, you got to do it now. Look at the auctions. There's a lot of great stuff there. And this is our last push. Even if you can give $1, $2, every little bit counts. There's only 2 hours and 15 minutes left of the auction. Snag those things up. Snag those things up now. Um, I there's a lot of great things there. There's readings. Mary Hawk will do a numerology chart, which I haven't. I used to be into numerology. Maybe that's my Mercury retrograde thing, is to go back and get back into numerology. Um, so so definitely, if you can, I'm going to go ahead and put the link up for the auction. And this is divination and the auction. If you go back to just take that auction off of the last slash, that's where you get the whole telethon page. So let me show you. This is the whole telethon page right here. And this is givebutter.com/C for campaign/Correllians Live. And this is really good. You can still share this with your friends, because we still have like a couple more hours left, and they can, if you just share this link, they'll know where to see us. If you share this link, then you've got the information on how to donate to us, and then you click here and there's the auction, and you can see all the wonderful things that we have on the auction. So givebutter.com/Correllians Live /auction for the auction. 15-minute tarot reading with First Priest Most Reverend Phoenix Coffin Williams. Oh, did you see the painting, the hand painted stuff that Reverend Emerald was doing? That is amazing. Shameless plug. This is my daughter's work. She is an artist, and this is Alone and Complete. She does a lot of pagan themed art, including there's some stickers down here that she has done as well. And stickers for reproductive rights. So here's Uterus Gang, here's Girl Gang, and then she drew this. She woke up from a dream with this in her mind, and she's like, "Mom, I have this great idea." I'm like, "Quick, write it down, fold it up, put it in an envelope, and mail it to yourself, and don't open it, so you can prove it's your design. So so you can have a copy of that design." And there's wonderful jewelry, amethyst bead and copper spider web bracelet, beaded flowers. A lot of work goes into these. This is a steal. And then we have the different readings with different people here, different psychics, tarot. We said numerology, so you can book a reading. I just keep looking at this chainmail pentacle wall hanging. That is so cool. We have some really good books too. Here's a good book of shadows for beginners. It's still up there, and this is the end. This is when we push all the stuff. This is where you get the auction stuff. This is where you find what's in there. And Fuzzy Friends by Sir Mike Nelson. That's so cute. And this is all handmade, so it's made with that energy that you put into it. I'm not going to tell you what I'm bidding on, because I want to kind of keep it. But if you want to get into a bidding war with me, I will tell you that there's a hint on this page of what I might be bidding on. If you kind of look at this page and you kind of look behind me, you kind of know what my tastes are, and you might figure out what I'm bidding on. It's okay if you bid against me. It's okay, because the money is for a good cause. We're trying to go to Parliament. We're trying to go to Parliament of the world's religions, because it is so important. If you've been here for during the interview that we did with Selena, it is very important for us to be there and represent pagans. I want to thank Jim. Jim just gave some money. He gave some butter. Jim, thank you so much. Thank you so much for donating. Donating to the Correllians. We are so close. We are so close to 2,000. So close to 2,000. The dream was 10,000. So we'll just have to go back to the drawing board and do that Mercury thing. see if there's other ways that we can earn that money. But this was the big thing. We've been working on this. A lot of people have been working on the background for a long time to make this happen. So let me go ahead and get the display. Jim, thank you so much. Here's some other people who've donated. Well, it's not letting me scroll. So Jim has been the latest person donating, so close to the 2,000 mark here, and this is not counting in the stuff from the auction. So please, Dan, to give so we can go to the Parliament, because like I said, it's so important for us to have representation as pagans in the Parliament. But I didn't get a chance. I was going to show you this. Let me go ahead and go back to here, because I'm kind of feeling a little bit. I'm trying to keep my competitive nature down. If you donate, you can just donate, straight donate like Jim did. If you donate, Jim donated to me. Thank you. That's what I was gonna say. Is when you donate, you can choose one of the team members to donate to. So I really thank you.
You are such a goof. You are such a goof.
Well, I was like, I'm the only person, because I'm the other person who donated to me. I'm like, somebody else has to donate to me. So spread some love with some of the other. Emerald needs more supporters too. Cosmo. If you don't want to give to anyone here, there's also a where you can like none. You can choose none, but it's nice to give to us. And then if you want to, you can put a GIF or a GIF. I don't call what you call it. I don't call what you call it. I just appreciate your
I swear. Donation. I swear I remember Jif used to be like Jiffy peanut butter. I love peanut butter. It does not love me though. Hi, Pam.
Hi. I'm looking at the puppy dog.
What puppy dog?
Puppy dog.
Did he give you a puppy dog on the GIF butter? The GIF, the GIF, the image. Yeah. We'll just call it an image. Sure.
The small little moving image.
We have a message from Jim. He says, I appreciate you coming out from behind the curtain today and sharing your wisdom. Oh, Jim, that's so kind. Thank you so much.
We're all capable of doing all this.
Oh, absolutely. We work so hard as a team here. There has easily been over 200 hours put in to this entire telethon. And we all worked. There's probably about 10 or 11 of us working behind the scenes here for all of that time. And to bring you what we've brought you this weekend. There are 2 hours and 6 minutes left until we sign off for the final time this time around. And
can we add some more time? Can we add some more time? Put some more time.
I don't know that that's a possibility, my friend. I just don't know. You know, a show is a show. I would definitely like to see a lot more donations. So if you have that money in your couch cushions, just enter in your credit card or your PayPal, or I don't even know if it allows bank account or not. Probably not direct ACH from your bank account, but enter in whatever information it allows you to enter, please, and give us that couch cushion change. Increments of $1 or more. And Jim, I really appreciate it when people show their appreciation by giving. And I want to emphasize that in this last 2 hours. I would love to break the $2,500 mark. We are currently sitting pretty at live.givebutter.com. Where did it go?
I've got it at Dana! Thank you, Dana.
Thank you so much. We are sitting at $1,918. Thank you so much, Dana. You are so kind. There it is. Thank you, Brian, in my background here. Yes, we are not working alone in this telethon. In the back end, we have some drivers and some people moving stuff around for us at all times. It is very rare to have somebody just working the room solo. It's very difficult. It's a lot more difficult than it would seem, let's just say. So you can actually scan that QR code right there, and you can totally just use your phone to do it. Just open up your camera, just like Pam is demonstrating. You hold it up to your screen. It'll pop up a little box with a little URL, and you just tap that with your finger, and then away you go. You just enter in your information. You don't have to share your real name with us if you don't want to. I've done it a couple times. I've just put in, donate to us right now, $1, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to enter in your card information, which does require your real name. But it takes literally 30 seconds. I demonstrated this earlier today. And if you have your card information saved on your phone, it takes 30 seconds or less. And Kai says that she ran the room solo. Well then, Kai, you are just a superhuman among us, okay? But yeah, this is your last chance, folks, for this time around. Please give us what you got. Okay? Yes. What did you say, dear?
I got something to say about the running the room solo. I used to be a radio disc jockey, and I used to, whenever I'd start talking to myself, people are like, you're talking to yourself. And I'm like, I get paid to talk to myself. That's what I do.
All right. So it is.
If you do it,
we are creeping. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you use the QR code, don't turn the camera around.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so we're creeping to the top of the hour, which means we're gonna run another donation break. I absolutely love the ASMR one that Emerald did before. So if this is the right one, you know what? I can't remember which one it is, so I'll just run one of ours. That's okay. But at any rate, we will be back in just a few minutes to start the second to last hour of this amazing telethon. Thank you so much for participating. The penultimate, yes. Thank you so much for participating, and we will be right back.
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team on why it is important that we reach that goal.
Hello, I'm Right Reverend Sir Elizabeth, Program Director of the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. Thank you so much for tuning in to our weekend-long event as we raise $10,000 to bring a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions coming up in August. We need to house and feed about 20 of us over in Chicago for 7 days. And to do that, we're going to need at least 10 grand. So here's our ask. Go to Correllians.live/donate and make us a monetary donation to our cause. Every dollar helps. We also have psychic readers and an auction you can participate in too. If you can't make a monetary donation, then do us another very big favor and share the event with your friends over social media. You can find us on the Pagan World TV app on Roku, Correllians Live and Magic TV via YouTube, and Correllians.live via any web browser. Thank you so much for your help and enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. I am Reverend Sir Richard Donahue, also known as Cloud the Pagan Rapper, and I'm a member of the Order of Paladins. Now, to help us send a contingent to the Parliament of World's Religions, to me, means one thing. Community. It's the idea of coming together with multiple faiths for common goals. And it is paramount for the pagan community to have a seat at that table. And I, for one, am very, very proud that we are afforded this opportunity to do so. But to do that, we do need your help. We're trying to raise $10,000 so that we can feed and house the contingency of paladins that will be going to the Parliament. And it's through your help that we're going to be able to get there and represent the community in the best possible way that we can. So please, smash that donate button, all right? Smash that donate button. You can go to Correllians.live to donate. And I want to thank you guys for taking part in the telethon, okay? Check out our auction. Get yourself a reading from Divinationality. Do all of the things that we have provided for you throughout these 3 days, and let us come together in community and achieve our goal and allow us paladins to go and represent us at Parliament. Thank you very much. May you all blessed be.
One of the best things about Parliament is one of the best things that we need in our society, which is unity, compassion, and fellowship, which is something I'm extremely looking forward to. And I hope that this will be inspiration for the future in helping us to be more as one in a community. So join us. Continue to join us. Thank you for sharing and liking our posts. And please continue to sponsor us.
At the Parliament of World Religions in 2023, I'm personally looking forward to broad exposure and deep engagement with various wisdom traditions from around the world, particularly as regards pressing issues from today and future goals for our human journey. I expect that I'll be able to incorporate much of the learning back into my own personal path, as well as share tangible insights back into the metaphysical and spiritual community that I work within.
From all of us here at the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, we want to thank you again for your support. Please be sure to check out Divination Alley and get yourself a reading. Or check out our online auction that is overflowing with wonderful craft items, books, and services for sale. Remember, our goal is to raise $10,000, so please help us spread the word about the event, our cause, and be sure to stay tuned for more. So thank you all again, and may you all blessed be. Enjoy the telethon.
Welcome back to the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon Sunday afternoon and evening block. This is our penultimate, that is second to last hour that we have to spend with you, and we made it. We made it, guys. Let me bring everybody in. Let's all just pile in. Turn your cameras on. Let's join in the show. Let's do this. Oh my God, we are over the $2,000 mark. I'm really happy right now. Thank you to that anonymous donor who gave us, put in the clutch there and bumped us over that hump. Man, oh man. What a day. What a weekend, y'all. How do we feel besides exhausted?
I'm ready for more.
One at a time. Brian, how you feeling? Yeah, somebody's giving feedback, so you'll need to put on a pair of headphones, I think.
I feel like we need to do more, right? We should do another 6 hours.
You know what? You know what, Pam? If you want to lead that charge and build that team, I wish you all the best. This Paladin General right here will be taking the next year off from all big projects. So if you want to lead that, you have my blessing. And I don't think anybody here will be helping you, unfortunately, at least for a few months, because we're all tapped out.
I think the telethons are kind of like giving birth. When you after you have it or during it, you get all that pain, and then you forget months later, and you're like, let's do another telethon. So we have to get our birth amnesia first.
That is so that's kind of really true. Okay, I forgot that this is kind of what it felt like at the end of the first one. How about you, Sir Ebony? I know that yesterday was, oh my gosh, a mammoth chunk of time, and you overcame so many obstacles.
A lot more than people realize, and I don't even want to go into it because we're going to keep it positive. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well,
Okay.
I'll do positive. You don't have COVID.
Kai, you're right, but my goodness, you went there.
I'm sorry. I felt so bad during the
I
last
know.
telethon when it happened.
I can't believe she did that earlier with COVID. That's just
It just goes to show her true talent and her dedication that she was able to do the last one and do such a good job with it. Well,
absolutely.
when I had it, I
Absolutely.
wanted to sit there and die on my couch.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. When I had COVID, it was over the top. It was nothing that I could deal with and do anything else with. So I do thank you again, Sir Ebony, for all that you do and all that you have done for this team and for the Paladin Order itself. So let us explore the reasons why we are here. We are here because we are among a contingent of paladins going to the Parliament of the World's Religions, and this $2,000+ will assist us to find housing and to buy ourselves food and probably a little bit for transportation if we have any left over. I think it's pretty much all going to go to housing at this point because renting those Airbnbs, while it is cheaper than getting a hotel rooms for all of us for the week, it is very expensive. So we're going to make those arrangements happen. Not to worry, because we are definitely. Let me turn my phone ringer off here so you guys don't have to worry about that. We are definitely a resourceful bunch. So Kai, what are you looking forward to at Parliament?
Well, first of all, it's going to be weirdly. It's nothing to do with the Parliament. It's just Correllian, because the first thing is since we've not had in-person events, I miss my Correllian road trips.
Mm-hmm.
So me, Phoenix, Deb are driving from Buffalo to the Parliament. So we're going to have our Correllian road trip. So we'll have our Correllian karaoke, which means I will get to the Parliament with a positive attitude, ready to get there and to serve the tradition and to serve the pagan community. So I guess I'm looking forward to a positive in-person. I'm looking forward to be able to serve in person. That I guess what I'm saying the most.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Being together in person again with everybody is sure going to be super amazing for me as well. I'm one of those people where I like to be with people and then I like to be alone, and then I like to be with people and then I like to be alone. So that is going to be something else. Oh, hello, Deb. You're watching out there in audiovisual radio land. Thank you so much for being here. Another one of our paladins. I am so glad to see you have finally been able to tune in. As for myself, another thing that I'm going to be looking forward to at Parliament is the amazing Langar, which the Sikh community holds every single time that the Parliament happens.
I'm laughing, Liz,
For what?
because when I did the first witch hour, I'm like, Liz really loved it. She kept going on and on about it.
It was amazing. It was really good. They have vegetarian food, and the mango lassi, which is basically like a yogurt, kind of a smoothie type beverage, is mwah, chef's kiss, absolutely delicious. And they'll feed you as much as you want until you're hungry, until you're no longer hungry and you're full. Go ahead.
So weirdly, having discussed that, the person that she was talking to during that podcast should have been in bed because they had a show in the morning. Yeah, that would be me. But I was saying, weirdly enough, one of my most favorite memories from the Parliament, the one in Toronto, had nothing to do with my experience. Well, it did a little bit. Me and another member of the tradition came upon a man who looked frazzled in the hallway. I helped the man out a little, but then went about my business and went and did other things. But this other person sat there for just about the whole darn week. probably missing out on many of the programming that they wanted to go to. But instead, they sat in that hallway and helped Sir Patrick McCollum out. And that eagerness to help a person out and forego their own experience for helping people out is one of our main cornerstones as paladins. And I'm sure we all know I am talking about our general, Reverend Liz. So that was one of my best moments of Parliament, that you took the time to help that man out basically the whole darn week.
It was incredible. Those were one of the best 3 days of my life. And it was exactly as she stated. He was in the middle of the giant hall that we entered, standing near one of these, like, I don't know, I like to call them like vertical flags. And he was just
like a
banner. It's like a vertical banner. It's a vertical flag, essentially, saying, welcome or whatever. Thank you for pantomiming, Reverend Mary. And I got to experience like a different side of Parliament. Okay, a lot of people think that Parliament is just for getting together and meeting friends and learning about different cultures and customs and traditions and religions and all that good stuff. But honestly, it is a place for people to come together and like make things happen. Make movement, real movement in the world. For those of you who are not aware, His Excellency Reverend Patrick McCollum, who I have been helping now for about 2 years, formally, that is, he is a world-renowned peacemaker, okay? He has fought for religious freedom and world peace for going on 50 years now. And to be able to assist him in that way, to be able to learn, oh, okay, this is what it takes. This is the kind of friendships and interconnectedness you need to have with other world leaders to be able to actually move the conversation forward, and not only the conversation, but make conversation turn into action. That was just that was worth it for me. Like I had looked. It's funny because I had looked through the Parliament book. They give you like a book of all of the things happening throughout the week, and nothing really caught my eye, and I'm kind of glad. Okay, because that made it kind of a little bit easier to forego. I mean, I would have forgotten it anyway, because hello, Patrick McCollum, he needed help. But it put me in that position to be able to help him more easily. And it really told me that the gods had put me there for that exact purpose, and I am a better human for it today.
I have to say something about the work that Patrick McCollum has done, and you know far better than I do. But he has been. I remember you. I think you probably were part of getting him on one of the podcasts that we did back. I think it was on. Yes, it was on 12/12/12 in on Pagan's World. It was 12/12/12, the December 12th, 2012. So it's a memorable day, and we got as a guest Patrick McCollum, and the next morning I got a text message from the person who was the manager then, saying that there was like thousands. I can't remember how many thousands of people listened to that one around the world, because he is so well regarded around the world.
Absolutely. I do not remember exactly if I was the person to help get him into that, because I mean 12/12/12 was 11 years ago, too many years ago. But yeah, so that was really cool. I don't remember that episode offhand, but
Kudu started. We had Kudu as the music because I did the Pagan Music Project.
Okay.
Kudu, which is bagpipes and percussion and guys in leather kilts.
A little bit. I kind of blasted out my eardrums there. Okay. So, Ebony, what are you looking forward to the most at Parliament? And then we'll pop over to Sir Mary.
Well, I don't know anything about Parliament, so I'm just looking forward to finally understanding what the hell you all been talking about all this time. Because I'm like, I don't know where this is. Where is that? And it's like, it seems so exciting. So like, I'm excited to finally be able to understand some of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Reverend Sir Mary, have you ever been to Parliament before? I can't remember.
I have never been to Parliament before,
Mhm.
so
So we'll have a couple of people for whom it's brand new.
So I'm really looking forward to going. I have been a student of world religion all my life, got in trouble for reading about religions other than Christianity when I was a kid. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to talk to people from different faiths, learn more about other faiths, and just the whole experience of being there, because every time I listen to those of you who've had the opportunity to go, you always talk about what a spiritually transformative experience it's been for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think just having so many people together when you focus on the purpose of why you all are gathering, it kind of harmonizes everything. And in our studies as Correllians, and Correllian adjacent people, we understand that energy is nothing but vibration, and that people in a space definitely can sync together. We do that every time we do magic, right? Reverend Sir Rich, I know that this will be also your first time going to Parliament. What are you most looking forward to based on what you've heard in the past?
Well, I'm looking forward to, acquiring knowledge from other schools of thought. Attending some of the workshops there that are going to be there outside of, Correllianism and paganism, and just kind of seeing some of the thought processes and ideologies, behind a lot of what they're saying. It's something that's always really interested me,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always really been, and I think it's going to help me grow, in my own personal practice by understanding, you know, the other ideas out there. That's my main thing on why I want to go so bad. That, and I've never been to Chicago, and yes, I really want to go to Chicago and check that out. Um, but yeah, I mean, really, it's really about seeing and witnessing the spectacle of all of these different faiths coming together for a common goal of understanding. Which is something that our community really, you know, we've been climbing that hill for a long time, and it's nice that we have a seat at this to be able to have a voice at it as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. It's going to be a wonderful experience.
Wonderful, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Oh, and Brian popped away before I could ask him, but he and I have talked about it before. Go ahead, Kai. What have you got there?
During the Crafty Correllians, because right before it we had manifesting money, and it was such a great talk that during Crafty Correllians, I made a money spell jar to help get us some more money for the paladins. I also made some paladin candles, so I'm just hoping I'm gonna keep these lit. I'm gonna keep this candle lit until the end of the telethon tonight. But I wanted to. I thought of another reason why it's really cool to be going to the Parliament.
Sure.
And Selena Fox was talking about it earlier. I'm really looking forward to the parade. We're going to have as many Correllians as we can, and as many in that parade to represent the tradition, to say, hey, we are witches, we are pagan, we are Correllian, we are proud, we are here, and we want to defend our freedoms and our rights.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said. Thank you so much for that, Kai. And yes, as Cloud was just echoing, a giant heart to you for that statement. So if all of you watching could help us get some lodging while we're there, I would be super glad for that. We are currently at the 2043 mark. Woo woo! Our anonymous donor up there giving us $100 to push us over that last little cliff there. Not the last one, but one of the ones, getting us to that $2,000 mark. If you would so kindly donate at givebutter.com/c/Correllianslive. You can also use your phone to scan that QR code and do it the really fast way. You won't even need to put in that much information if you have it saved already in your phone. So let's see here. Let's talk for just a little bit, because I do have to go and get ready for the last hour with Chancellor Steph, and I will be having a nice discussion together. Let's see here. What else would we like to see ourselves doing in the future as paladins besides the Parliament?
I got one.
Go ahead.
We all know right now in our economy, with inflation and everything else, one thing's that it's hard to not be able to afford the luxuries, the Xbox or the Xboxes and the PlayStation 5s, and everyone wants them. But they're luxuries, and at the end of the day, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But everybody should have access to food.
Yes.
Yes.
Food is getting to be so expensive that people are going without. So I would love to see little food pantries, or even a big community food pantry. I'd like to see some way that we can go out there and we can feed some people, because yes, most of us are struggling, but some of us are not. And we have the ability to get out there and help people eat, because everyone has to eat, and no one should be hungry. That's like a basic human right, the right to live.
Byron was talking about that with you, Lady Liz.
Yes.
With you, General Liz.
Yes,
she was saying that, even though we don't have to have, like, I'm not Correllian, but I'm here, part of this, and I am a paladin. We need to put aside the, I'm a Gardnerian or whatever, and we need to focus as a community on how we can do things. And Jim says he loves to help others plant gardens. That's what we're good at. Go ahead and find ways that you can help out. To be honest, that's part of why I really helped try to get a community where I lived in Texas, because they're very, very Baptist there. And when you move there, they're like, "Where's your church family?" And
all over the place.
But I'm going to go ahead and say I got jealous that if anyone needed something, they could depend on their church family. If you were running short on rent, if you didn't have money, you could go to your church family. Now, it made me want to go to church. But it made me want to do that with our community,
right?
So we can be that for each other.
Yeah, so definitely one of the things that that Byron and I, and even Belladonna Laveau and I, who I had on yesterday too, are going to be doing is discussing community activism like that to help the underserved and to help those in need in our local communities. So, I'm local to Pennsylvania. I have Rich right across the river, essentially, right?
Yep.
And, maybe we could do something like nearer to Philly. I mean, I live 60 miles north of Philly, but it's something that is repeatable. Creating community food pantries, food banks is not, I wouldn't say easy, but one of the more easy methods to be of service to the community. And the emphasis really also was on contributing whatever food you grow or have in that, to the local food bank, because they're already set up for success. So getting in good with your local established resource areas is definitely something that we could do as paladins. Oh yeah, peanut butter and jam. Let's put this up on the screen. Sir Brian mentioned this to me when we were having our weekend for illustration in New York City. Yes, I do remember this now. Thank you for the reminder. Basically, like a peanut butter and jam or jelly drive. to feed whoever needs a sandwich or wants a sandwich. And we could always have like a little donation jar out there to cover whatever expenses that we might have. Pam, you had your hand up.
I was just waiting my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
For once.
I was pretty much nearing the end with that thought. Sure.
Well, food is important, but we've got to anyone who's had to depend on SNAP benefits, formerly known as food stamps. The anyone who's had to depend on that knows you don't get money for light bulbs, you don't get money for toilet paper, and you definitely don't get money for underwear. And I've helped. I remember a guy that was sitting on the side of the road asking for money, and I walked up to him I drove up to him and I said, "So what do you need other than food? What do you need?" And he's like, "I could use underwear." And I've heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
I could use socks and underwear. And I said, "Okay, I got an errand to run. Meet me at a dollar store down the way, and I will." And I did. I bought him. So I drove up to him again about a week ago, and I said, "Hey, Donnie, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "I bought you underwear one time." He says, "I'm probably still wearing them."
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, Kai, you were gonna say something, and then Mary.
Piggybacking off Pam, the other thing that I would like to see, and it's not even that hard, and I can tell you that I'll give you a little story real quick. So one day we just went grocery shopping, spent all the money we had. We didn't even have a quarter left in the car, but we had a load full of groceries in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's January in Buffalo. It's 3.5 feet of snow on the ground. A guy's holding a sign, hungry, homeless. And we don't have any money, but we pulled over our car and we opened our trunk and we started, going through our groceries. What can we give this man? And he was very appreciative. So and it doesn't even have to be food, but I would like to see blessing bags type thing where we give them out to the community, because unfortunately we have about 500,000 people that are homeless in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That a simple bag filled with some bottled water, some first aid supplies, things that wouldn't cost us that much to put together, would make their day and make their life a little bit easier. And it falls in with our donate. I'm not trying to be at the same time, I'm going to plug this telethon a little bit. We've been asking for a long time. We've been getting these $100 and these 25, but we would be happy with a $1 donation. You do not have to give us a lot of money, even if you can only do $1 or $2, which is your average cup of coffee. So we're just asking, if possible, could you not have a cup of coffee tomorrow morning from Starbucks? Make a pot at home before you go and donate those couple dollars to the Correllian's Live Telethon by scanning that little QR code.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Kai.
I want to go to Kai's Starbucks.
Right. I want to go. Well, she said the average cup of coffee. She was just saying Starbucks has a common suggestion. Obviously, everybody knows that a cup of coffee at Starbucks is going to run you more like $5.
Okay,
but
so
let's bring up some
coffee.
Obviously, dear. Let's bring up some of the comments from Sir Brian. He's out there in the chat. And he stated earlier, a little bit ago, that the organization that he works with is looking for groups to do food services at dinner for LGBTQ plus elders. Looking at you over there, Cloud. What do you think, man? You want to get together and maybe make that happen in collaboration with Sir Brian?
I mean, it's possible.
Tomorrow or anything. But, in the future.
I don't see why we couldn't,
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I do want to add to that, is that there are already a lot of, organizations and everything that are already out there doing this work that, are having issues with people donating their time and volunteering and being able to help out, in their situation, and, I love the idea of creating a local food bank and or collaborating with local food banks,
Right.
and making sure they're squared away. Another thing that we could do, coat drives, making sure blanket drives, things to
For the
help
winter time.
the people in the wintertime.
Yeah.
That's something that I am kind of cooking up, with Nine Muses around my way.
And I
And
also like the idea of like self-care and hygiene kits, and this bounces back to what Pam was saying, right?
Yep.
Go ahead, Mary. I'm so sorry, honey. I keep like you just kind of blend in. I'm so sorry. Go for it. What do you have an idea for?
Couple of things.
Okay.
Number one, and having lived with food stamps for a while, I'm going to throw out, you don't get feminine hygiene products.
Mm-mm.
So that is another item to consider, helping people get, and possibly even talking to food banks about, could we provide hygiene products?
That's
The
a
other
great
thing,
idea.
so, and they may not wish to distribute them, but that's something to ask local food banks is, could we donate hygiene products? Another thing is, I was just going to mention with Nashville Pagan Pride Day, we have a good relationship with Second Harvest Food Bank here, and it is easy to run a food drive when you are holding any kind of an open event. Just ask people to bring a couple of cans of food. If you're running an open ritual, having just a small kind of festival, whatever. But it's very easy to ask people to bring donations. And if you get in the habit of doing it, anytime you run an event, people will just get in the habit of bringing it.
Yep.
Exactly. So I'm going to turn over this moderation to the Reverend Sir Barry, I believe it was, who would like to continue this positive discussion. And before I go, Jim says that he thinks that Byron would be a great resource for ideas, as she has food drives with her Mother Grove Temple. And with that, I will leave it to you all. Go ahead, Kai, and I will take my leave to get ready with our Chancellor Stephanie.
Okay, so we'll see you soon. I just thought of something. Many years ago, when I was a teenager, I was a Girl Scout. I went to Girl Scouts all the way to the end and got the Girl Scout Gold Award. And my Gold Award project was, so I lived in an area that economically was far below the poverty level. And adults understand not having money, but the little kids, it's hard on them. So what I did is I made a project where I got together 1,000 boxes of the cake mix, pre-made cake mix, and 1,000 things of frosting, 1,000 packs of birthday candles, then a little stuffed animal, kind of like what you get at the Dollar Tree now. And we had like shoe boxes, and we donated them to a local food bank. That when, every time a family signs up at the food bank, it lists, you, as part of the intake process, it's, like name, the birthdays, stuff like that to bring to intake. So when there was a birthday month where a child had a birthday, they got this birthday box that, so no matter their situation, that family had the ability to give their child a birthday cake.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love that. Not an anxiety cake, though. That's cute. That's cute.
Well, Rich Cloud had this amazing poem that he did, but we're not going to do it now. You're going to have to go back, and the wonderful thing about this is people can go back and watch what they missed. So go back and watch it. But you can't donate in reverse. We got to donate now. We got to donate now. So we've made it over the 2,000 mark with donations. We're having a really good chat here, but I'm going to go ahead and put the donate link up for a little bit.
Yes, put the donate link up, and let's not forget the auction, folks. We still have wonderful things you can get at the auction, and Jim is saying we need grant writers. Anybody versed in grant writing? I am not.
I've learned other things because of need. I guess I can get some books.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess we can learn. I'm just thinking, do we have anyone? Sir Brian says he can do grant writing. All right. I was about to say, I wonder if Reverend Phoenix has ever done grant writing in his line of work.
I could use some help in learning how to do that, because I'm doing one of the other things that we could do, though it's good to do the food and the clothing and such, but I've got to go back into the political thing, and it's going to overlap because Brian was putting in the chat too of ways to help the trans community, especially right now. They're under attack.
Yeah.
Under big attack. So if there's ways that you can do to be a good advocate, but I'm a member of the disabilities community, persons with disabilities, and we're starting a thing called here in North Carolina, Rev Up NC, which is register, educate, vote, use your power, and it focuses on persons with disabilities. But it's for all marginalized communities, because that's the one thing that we all have: billionaires, me, you, Christians, Muslims. If you got that vote, our vote should count. Everyone's vote should count. So we got to make sure that we let people understand that if you don't like the way things are going, to be the change, you have to participate. So anyone that I wouldn't back off the political thing, because some people get, but it's so important.
And Brian makes a good point here.
That is true. Corporations need tax write-off.
Of course, you also have to have a IRS charity status. So that's another point. And can we refresh the Give Butter and just see if anything has moved?
Along with the IRS status, the Correllians are a 501c3.
The
so
Correllians
you might be able to, yeah. But
I'm just
right. If you wanted
go ahead,
to do
Pam. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead, Mary.
I was just pointing out, if you are trying to start a small local effort in your community, in order to get tax write-offs, you will have to have a charity status, 501c3 status from the IRS, although you may find an organization that you can use as an umbrella.
But speaking of that, it would be real quick. But speaking of that 501c status that you're talking about, the IRS has actually made it quite simple for that to happen. It used to be
it is easier,
1,000 pages and like thousands of dollars to do it. Now it's like 2 very small pages and like under $300 if you're a small organization. We're not talking about big fancy ones that obviously cost more, because you can use the easy form, because I've recently filled out a couple of them. So that's another good thing. A lot of pagan groups don't go for that 501c status, even though they should, because they're because they just don't realize that it has become a lot easier to do so. So if we get more pagan 501c charities, that's more money coming towards, things that we as pagans would rather see than
correct,
big huge stadium-sized churches.
Well, I mentioned that you don't need a lawyer because you said it's really easy. But if you're feeling you had questions like, because I'm doing political stuff, you don't want a 501c3 because there's a lot of things that hang up. So we're going 501c4 for mine. And if you don't know the difference and you want to say what are the pros and cons for it, you can usually get a lawyer in your area that will help you draft that up and help you with those questions pro bono, because that's part of their, not necessarily write off, but they have to have so many hours that they're giving. So yeah. So but back to giving to the community. Give to this community, please.
Yes, please. We do need your help to get food and housing in Chicago. For how many paladins do we have going? That's probably actually a General Liz question.
I believe that General Liz said about 20.
That's what I think the number is. So that is probably about 2 Airbnbs, give or take.
Do you think we can write a grant for this?
And Sir Brian says 20. So I'm going to go with realistically 2 Airbnbs, assuming 2 to 3 Airbnbs then, depending on size.
I think Sir Brian answered my questions about writing a grant. It's too late for one. So next one, maybe we can do a grant.
Right. Well, this one first. So we appreciate your donations. Also, please visit the auction. Could we take a look at the auction since you're driving? We have
Go ahead.
Do you want to bring up the auction for a minute?
I'm getting there.
Thank you.
I have to do that too.
So if you go to the... Oh, you got it?
You can do it. I'm only a guest. Sorry.
We're a team. It's the Correllians, the Give Butter. If you go to the main overview, it's up here at the top for you to switch to the auction side. So I hope everyone's seeing this. This is where you can donate and give us credit. But, it's really nice. I wanted to say thank you to Dina about how she liked the Selena Fox. But if you go over here, auction, lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool things. And we're running out of time. We only have 1 hour and 15 minutes to bid. Did you see these?
We have got some cool stuff here. So let's get this up on the screen.
Can you see it? Are you seeing it?
We are now.
Here is, I keep looking at this one, Mary. I keep looking at this one, the numerology chart. It's been a long time since I got into numerology.
Well, it's right there. I usually charge $200 for a full chart, so it's a deal.
Wow. And there's some nice jewelry, books. Oh, here's the Sea Priestess with
and Lady Stephanie will sign any of her books that you buy.
How many of us started off with I didn't, but I know a lot of pagans, a lot of witches started off with the silver raven wolf to write a silver broomstick, or the teen witch.
Mine was Scott Cunningham.
I started with Scott. Well, I was doing stuff before Scott, but Scott helped me find the community, I guess, is the best way of putting it. But all that stuff is up right now, and you get some good deals on things.
We have... Let's see here. I'm back. Yes, it was very easy to get Lady Steph in the wings.
Welcome back.
Thank you. And yes, so we have 1 hour and 15 minutes left before the final bell toll rings.
Donate,
donate, please, to our cause. We have so many items that we are not seeing any bids on. So, my only guess is that maybe all y'all are just waiting for like the last minute or two. And then you're going to go, okay, I'm going to bid on this one. And I'm going to bid on this one. And I'm going to bid on this one. And that one too. And that one looks really awesome as well. So I do believe we have more 15-minute readings with First Priest, Most Reverend Phoenix. And
readings are incredible, folks. You want a reading with the Most Reverend Phoenix.
Absolutely. And so you can also bid on the 2 bracelets that my friend Michelle donated to us. Of course, we heard about Pam's daughter, who drew the amazing artistic trees holding together a pentacle, the title of which is Alone and Complete. And then, of course, we have all of our Divination Alley readers who still have divination items that are available. And the candles! Let us not forget the candles that are handmade by a friend of Sir Brian's. And she graciously allowed us to purchase them as she is moving overseas soon. And needed them to go to loving homes. So your home could be the place that they go if you so desire. And the only way to make that happen is to go to Correllians.live/auction and make your bid. Okay, so we have a question from Reverend Sir Ebony Nash. What is something that you think Paladins can improve upon as an order? Wow. What a great question.
That is a great question.
My goodness.
Really
I have several ways. One of which is to, I want to better organize the way we rank up people. And so that it is explicitly clear what you must do to earn your next rank. And that is something that I was going to bring up at the next all hands meeting, but why not? I'm pretty open. I'm pretty, easygoing like that. I don't mind talking about the hard things. So that's from me anyway. And I want to keep it really positive. So whatever you 3 answer, positive answers only. Please. Like I just did, right? Like, how do you think we can improve, Rich?
Well, seeing as, I've been a paladin for I want to say a little over a year now.
You've been a hot minute.
Maybe a year and a half. I would say I feel that we could do better regarding organizing, not like the telethon, but like other events, more locally sourced events.
Absolutely.
Within our own temples and our own circles and helping organize these things. I think that we could be better about doing that, doing more work locally.
Absolutely. I agree.
But that's one of the things that I do. And, speaking to the promotion process within the, within that, I mean, yeah, draw it out, General. And how you draw it out is how it's going to be, and then we'll go with that. But
absolutely. I really appreciate your candor there, Rich. And one of the things that I will be doing in the next little while, like not next week, I'm going to take a couple weeks off. I will be fair. I am tired. We all are. We know that. We're getting to the end here. We're almost there. And I'm so proud of every single person who has helped put this together, helped to be a host, helps our guests get in their places, help to run the back end, help to set up our Give Butter and our auction and all our videos and all this editing and recording and whatnot. I'm really proud of each and every one of you. And I will be meeting with folks who can get us the techniques that are needed to more locally organize within the next little while here. So
yes, research needs to be done.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the research has already been done. I'm going to be meeting with leaders who have offered me this advice to kind of get our boots wet in a little bit of a more local fashion. Reverend Sir Kai, is that your hand up there, honey? It's hiding behind your name tag. I'm so sorry.
I'm just gonna.
I didn't know if you were like doing like I sometimes do. I sometimes like keep my hands like in front of me like this a little bit. This is actually like when I'm just standing around like I don't know, like in a mall or something, checking my phone, like one hand will be up here,
Yeah.
and the other hand will be scrolling to my phone. I don't know, but anyway, go ahead, honey.
I think you and Ebony set up this question, and you just want us to give us our ideas so you can volunteer us to do things.
Well,
So I'm going in to this knowing that full well that whatever I say, I might be the one doing. I just want to say that, but I noticed that we don't need the whole Paladin order to do something to be the Paladin thing.
That
Us
is
individuals do our own individual Paladin work. I would love to see, and it doesn't have to be monthly or maybe quarterly or yearly. I would love to see a Paladin newsletter that lets all of us Paladins get together, and in the newsletter we put what we're doing in the newsletter so we can motivate the rest of the Paladins to get out there and do stuff.
Sir Kai,
I voluntold myself.
you voluntold yourself. I hope you are ready to live up to that task.
I was.
Missy.
That's why my hand was like. That's why my hand was like this when I was saying it. It's not my first rodeo.
Okay. Yes. Humana. Someone be your it. Quarterly newsletter. So if you could please, for a quick favor for me, throw that back up there. I wanna promote an ongoing thing until the end of June, which will be cloudwrapswicca.bandcamp.com. $21 for his entire flippin' discography.
It's about 3 albums worth of music.
My God, Go run, get it. He's gonna donate all of it to the Paladin Order through the end of June. So
I'd like to actually update that, because since it was announced earlier today, we have had some movement on that side of
please
things.
tell us.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have all of this right now to be able to throw into the pod, but we are already about, like $70.
Amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, that's pretty wonderful, and I want to thank everybody.
May you absolutely blessed be forever and ever for doing this for us. Like I when I was through the moon when you said this yesterday, when you gave me the idea, I'm like, oh my God, what a brilliant plan.
I was through the moon clicking on things.
Right? And Brian says, Cloud the Pagan Rapper, we'll get everyone. What? I'm not quite understanding that. Maybe we can try again. I'm so sorry. I wanted to post it, and then wait. I'm like,
I'm not sure what
almost 50 hours.
Yes, we're a little tired.
Give Sir Brian a break, because he was we were all working so hard.
Yes, I am giving him a break. Like I wasn't boo-hooing him or anything, but then I read that and I'm like, oh well, actually I don't know what he's trying to say. We'll go everywhere you go in your ears. Okay, that makes right everywhere. Yes, not every right. Okay,
and hopefully in your hearts.
And in our hearts too. Yes, because oh my goodness. Let's give a heart, and this heart is for like everybody who has worked so hard this weekend. 44 hours and 6 minutes left. So, what do you have as closing comments? 1 minute, 30 seconds for each of you, because we have to do one last donation break. Rich, sorry, Pam, go. 30 seconds.
For Sir Cloud, if you want to get his music, you can save money, so that way you can get for the Red album too.
Oh yeah.
So don't forget to get the Red.
Pre-order
the Red album.
Reverend Sir Kai.
You're already going to be at Bandcamp.
Our telethon is for those who can't in part for those who can't make it to the Parliament. Us Paladins will go to the Parliament for you and get your voices heard. So donate today. Like right now.
Like exactly right now.
Like right now.
Smash it.
Smash that donate button. But just don't hurt your screens if you're scanning the QR code, okay? Be a little more gentle. Reverend Sir Mary.
It's important that we are there as pagans, saying that we are a world religion, and it's important for us to be there. working for more human rights. Please donate and help us get there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Reverend Sir Mary. Reverend Sir Cloud, take us away.
We love you. Thank you to all of those who have donated so far and to all of those that will donate in the past. Thank you to all of those who have put work in on this event. Thanks for everybody that has organized it. Thanks for everybody who has been tuning in and checking in and watching it. You know, I myself only really jumped into the fray about 10 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, it is, it means a lot to be able to do this work. That is why we want to go to Parliament, because we want to do the work, and going there enables us an opportunity to do just that. So please, one more time, I'm gonna say it. I've been a broken record about it the entire telethon. Smash the donate button. All right. So honestly, though, love you. Blessed be.
Blessed be to you all.
And may
Stay
you all be
tuned
well.
for one
Blessed
final
be.
hour. One final hour, folks. We'll be back in 4.5 minutes. Thank you, each and every one.
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team on why it is important that we reach that goal.
At the Parliament of World Religions in 2023, I'm personally looking forward to broad exposure and deep engagement with various wisdom traditions from around the world, particularly as regards pressing issues from today and future goals for our human journey. I expect that I'll be able to incorporate much of the learning back into my own personal path, as well as share tangible insights back into the metaphysical and spiritual community that I work within.
I'm Sir Brian John Ellicott, member of the Sacred Order of Paladins, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about the Road to Parliament 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, 50 hours of magic and community. We are here to ask for your help as we send a contingent to Parliament of World Religions in Chicago, Illinois, this August in 2023. We're going to give voice to you, to our community, during these next 50 plus hours to help raise our goal of $10,000 so that we can supply housing and food for the Correllian nativist tradition members who are going to Parliament this year. And we humbly ask that you continue to donate and bid on our auction, get tarot readings and other divinational readings from our readers over in Divination Alley. And I again want to thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you about the Paladins and why our telethon participation, your telethon participation is vitally important to our participation in Parliament in Chicago this August. Our attendance is vitally important. Now more than ever, we see the need for our freedoms and human rights to be defended and preserved. And as pagans, we deserve a seat at the table for those conversations. And the best way you can help us is to donate, bid on auction items, and get divination readings. I am offering readings this weekend over in Divination Alley. The link is below. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Right Reverend Sir Elizabeth, Program Director of the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. Thank you so much for tuning in to our weekend-long event as we raise $10,000 to bring a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions coming up in August. We need to house and feed about 20 of us over in Chicago for 7 days. And to do that, we're going to need at least 10 grand. So here's our ask. Go to Correllians.live/donate and make us a monetary donation to our cause. Every dollar helps. We also have psychic readers and an auction you can participate in too. If you can't make a monetary donation, then do us another very big favor and share the event with your friends over social media. You can find us on the Pagan World TV app on Roku, Correllians Live and Magic TV via YouTube, and Correllians.live via any web browser. Thank you so much for your help and enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Reverend Mary Hawk, and I am a member of the Sacred Order of the Paladins. Why are we going to the 2023 Parliament of World Religions? Because representation matters. It's important that pagans be there to show that we are a growing tradition, that we are a viable religion and we need to take our seat among other world religions.
From all of us here at the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, we want to thank you again for your support. Please be sure to check out Divination Alley and get yourself a reading. Or check out our online auction that is overflowing with wonderful craft items, books, and services for sale. Remember, our goal is to raise $10,000, so please help us spread the word about the event, our cause, and be sure to stay tuned for more. So thank you all again, and may you all blessed be. Enjoy the telethon.
And we're back with the final hour of the Correllians Live 2023 Telethon. Oh my goodness. 50 hours that we have brought you music, magic, conversations, a little bit of debate, and we are going to be here for the last hour with the Most Reverend Stephanie Leon Neal, who is a sister to me and a mentor and most of all a friend. She has recently been acclaimed to the chancellorship, appointed to that role. And I am just so happy to be able to spend the next a little while with her and have some good conversation. Lady Steph, welcome.
Welcome. How are you?
I am exhausted, but I still have this giant smile on my face. So, sorry, just having to take care of a couple peripheral things, but that's okay. I have the driver here for me now, so that's good. Goodness, Lady Steph, you've been watching all weekend. What's been your favorite part so far?
Oh my. I won't pick one because
Okay.
with Selena and Belladonna and you and the music, the good conversation, and Mary Hawk and Pamela, and not to forget about Kai's wonderful crafting. I mean, Lady Kai is so mesmerizing. So fascinating to watch. 1 minute she's talking to you, and the next minute she's off doing something else in the other corner of the room, which is only making it more special. And then she shows up, and then she produces such beautiful work. And just I don't like to pick favorites because everyone was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you for that. I myself, I was trying the rest like a whole heck of a lot. But we have Ebony who says, "Hi, Lady Steph. It's so good to see you." Thank you for that, Ebony.
Hi,
Hello
Ebony.
to everybody
Lady
out there in
Ebony.
Radio Land. Yes, Lady Ebony now.
Yes.
And I am thrilled to have had this opportunity to raise as much money as we could in this crazy month. Like, it's been an insane 3 weeks prior. Okay. We had the CNT auction to benefit the church. We've had Lord Ed selling his books and Lord Don selling his jewelry, and still now we've had let me see what can we bring up the good give butter, please, to see how many donors we've had so far? Sir Brian. Let me see. There we go. Okay. We've had 58 people give us a total of $2,043. And that includes the following. It includes direct donations and buy it nows, which in the Buy It Nows also include the Divination Alley readings. And that is just, it warms my heart that even after all the rest of the things that have been going on, people had this much to give. And I'm so grateful from the bottom of my heart and soul, because this is really going to help the people, the contingent of paladins that I lead. I lead with Sir Jason by my side, and this is all this man stepping into these shoes. Let me tell you, I know that it's not an easy thing to do, but it is a journey that, I would only change a couple of things. And I won't go into what those are, because that's my business and not necessarily the rest of the world's. Maybe read a memoir later, like, later on when I'm getting ready to pass from this earth onto the next plane. So, goodness, Lady Steph, what are you looking forward to doing at the Parliament? What are you looking forward to doing, to seeing, to experiencing?
First of all, to be able to meet with other Correllians that I've known for almost 20 years, and then meeting people that I've only met through the net, to see them in person and be able to chat with them and get to know them a little bit better, because even though we do learn so much about each other through the net, but it's just different and more personable when you're hugging someone and talking to them face to face.
Absolutely. And, I honestly, after 3 years of pandemic apartness, I am ready for us to just run and tackle each other with the biggest of hugs. We Correllians, most of us, I gotta say, some of us are fist bump people. That's cool. But I'm a hugger. And I know you're a hugger. I'm going to give you the biggest, longest hug that I have ever given. And it is going to be so nice to just be in the same space together.
Yes. Well, bring it on.
Really. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm rip roaring up. We're only 3 months and 7 days out. Yes, I've been counting. So our total right now is $2,043. I would love to top 2,500 in the next 50 minutes. So if folks can just dig deep who haven't donated before, or even if you have, if you want, go donate, go bid on an auction item or 5. I know Kai out there has a few auction items that she's just waiting for the last bell to go ahead and scoop right up, because that's her style. Let's see, who else do we think might be waiting for that last little bell? Who else are our auction hawks, let's call them? I think Lady Lori Blackman. I don't know, maybe yourself. You're awful quiet over there. Oh, hold on just a moment. Okay, it was just my mom. She dropped something. Just wanted to make sure she was okay. Let's see. Oh, oh, Jim. Oh, that warms my heart. He says, I think my bank statement will be full of CNT transactions this month, and I love it. I love that for you too. Thank you for being so generous. And Ebony says it was pretty crazy what we managed to do in the final hour of the last telethon. This right here, that's what I want. I want a kind of a repeat or better. And thank you so much for reminding me of that, Ebony. Lady Steph, what advice do you have for the Paladin Order going forward? From all that you've seen and, all that we've managed to do, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I like to let you know what I have observed. I have observed people that has a pure motives in that they truly want to see a better world, and they recognize that teamwork and partnership, working with each other, respecting each other, and trusting in each other's process and personality. That you have already gone very far, but this order is going to go much farther than what you see today, simply because the people you have are energetic, creative, organized, all the right things, and non-judgmental, believing the best in everyone. And all those meld into a important way to move through and grow and order.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. And as a budding leader, like really like budding top leader among the creme de la creme, if we want to call it that, up there a ways. Okay, I've been around 20 years, but some days it doesn't necessarily feel like I know what I'm doing. So like I think something that I've managed to get really good at is like hearing people's ideas and kind of seeing if it can fit. Like if in some way it can be like, maybe like, squished together here, pulled apart here a little bit, and if it's going to go somewhere with whatever we're working on, right? And another thing is that I really appreciate about my team, this team that brought us here to the 50th hour, is that no matter what kind of pivoting we had to do, there was very little panicking, there was very little fussing, and you guys, I am not going to name how many pivots we had this weekend, because all y'all don't need to know. It was nearly flawless. Like twinkle, like freaking ballerinas just flittering across the stage and avoiding each other, and maybe sometimes they like gently bump into each other, but it's almost magical in the way that it all came together into this cohesive event. And I am very grateful. Jim says, I grabbed 2 of Lady Steph's books during the auction, and I can't wait to sit down with them and a cup of tea. Oh my goodness, Jim. Which of the 2 books did you decide to get? And for those of you who are wanting to make a last minute auction bid, please go to Correllians.live/auction. If you would like to make a straight up donation to our cause, please go to Correllians.live/donate. And you can bid right there on the website, and the auction one will take you actually to the Give Butter. Everything goes through Give Butter. And we have 45 more minutes in which to do that before we bow out and the curtain falls. Let me see. What other kinds of questions? What else do we want to talk about, Lady Steph? Do you have any questions for me?
I like your headgear.
Oh, thank you. Isn't it lovely?
Yes, it is. Even though you have beautiful long...
Oh, yes. I have gorgeous hair. Trust me, it falls down past my waist.
Yes, but I guess one question I would have for you is that one of the main qualities of a good leader is not dealing with an oversized ego, and you do not have an oversized ego, which helps all of the people that work with you. You recognize that they are just equal in partnership with you, and everyone. It's easier to stay on the same page when there's no competition related to, well, my idea is better than your idea.
Right.
Because I think every idea is a good idea. Well, on the most part, every idea is a good idea, but maybe sometimes an idea, maybe it's just not the right timing.
Right.
Or it's just not formulated clear enough.
Right.
So yeah, not enough tweaking yet, which are all remedied. Yeah. So, and then I also, when talking about giving money, I did want to say a few things about that,
Yes, please.
if I
Of
may.
course.
Now, this is the way I have worked, and I'm saying money because to me that is such a cold term that people usually try to gentle the phrase by saying funds.
Right.
I pleasant, but then sometimes when you're talking turkey, you just have to talk turkey. So I am
Just say what it is, right?
That's right. So I'm going to be just bringing up a few things, and you're welcome to jump in there.
Sure.
And once again, this is just a way, not the way, to handle money, and handling money to the purpose that a person can understand how money grows through giving.
Yes.
So now some, when they were taught by their parents or teachers or some friends, or however they learned how to work with money, they have possibly picked up a belief system, which we all live by our belief systems. And all belief systems, they're not, one's not better than the other. It's just your belief system on how you decided to live your life. And we all have these, but I'm going to focus in on, the money. So, okay, so all right. So the main motive why we earn money is obviously so that we may take care of our living needs and adventures, but first, paying yourself and your family first.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is really a golden rule, because some people don't do that. They end up paying for other things instead of first you and your family. But then at the same time, the other side of that coin is that some folks stop there. They just stop there. They earn their money, they pay their bills, they make sure that they're good, their family's good, and they just stop there.
Right.
And all right, that's a belief system. Nothing wrong with that. But then if you want to start entering into how to cause money to come back to you, the only way it's like money is like a boomerang. It depends on how you process that. So if you want to throw out your boomerang, your money, by giving, then that will swing right back to you and to catch it. And then the same thing, throw it, catch it, throw it, catch it.
Lady Steph, you are absolutely correct. And I will speak on that. I want to thank the second anonymous donor of the day for giving us another $100, and for Pamela for giving us $2. And we are now at the 21:45 mark. Round of applause. I really, really, really love everyone who has been so generous with us once again. Animal Crossing claps. I don't know how. Oh, like this. Okay. Sir Brian demonstrating off screen. I really love the idea that you use it like a boomerang, okay? Like it goes round and round and round and round, and then it comes back and you catch it, and then you have more of it for yourself. And I personally have experienced this in the last 5 years. I went from having a job and I discussed this a little bit earlier, so it might sound like a repeat because it is. And I went from having a job for 3 years at Walmart, barely making ends meet, barely being able to pay my expenses, my own expenses for myself. And and then I took a leap. I took a wild leap into the darkness, as it were, into the unknown. And I tried to do my own business for about a year and a half. I got myself to the last Parliament by myself. And with the help of a few awesome people who I was able to do witch boxes for a little bit there. And And then my good friend Pam Kelly mentioned to me after I hit a dead end working for Amazon for a year, I just couldn't take it anymore. She said, Liz, get yourself to Robert Half, which is a temporary agency, and they got me into a really good job, the job that I still have today. And now I am living. I am, for the once in my life, I am making more than minimum wage in my state. And like, I mean like the minimum living wage, right? Not this $7.25 an hour nonsense. That's the federal. So, I have also done things like I have a deal with the god Saturn. Every Saturday, if I'm going out of my house, I take cash with me, and the first person I see on the street who is homeless, like a homeless vet, they stand around on the sidewalks a lot with their cardboard signs, and I ask them, I can give you cash or we can go get something at the grocery store. What do you need? What would you rather? And most of the time they take the cash. Some of the time we walk down the block and we buy them, like, I don't know, like a sandwich or a burger or fries and a Coke or whatever. And in that way I push the wealth out, and then it comes back on me and it creates this wave, like the waves of the ocean. And it reminds me of the waves of the ocean because I love listening to ocean sounds as I sleep, beach sounds. And I like going to the water parks, and they have those wave generators. And it just reminded me, it only has to push out, and then it retracts, and then the water does its own work for a while. And my goodness, let's see, what was that psychological trick that popped up there? Oh yeah, psychological trick, bid an odd number and challenge people like me to even the total to something divided by 5. I like that. That's a clever trick. And Jim Sayers has this to say: if money isn't moving, it's not working for us. Boomerang, never heard of that, but great analogy. So that is something that definitely resonates with people, which I'm glad to see. I'm really, really, really glad for what we have accomplished today. And I can't wait to do any more of this in the future. I am hesitant to say, just as I was the last one, that I will run one of these myself again. But as I think it was Kai said earlier, we don't need every paladin to participate for it to be a paladin-led event, right? So one thing that I'm grateful for is that I have somebody who will be helping me learn different kinds of leadership skills so that I can then teach them and share with them and pass them along to my paladins, which is just going to make us phenomenal. And Lady Steph, I hope to prove true to your prediction that we are going to become an order to make this tradition even more proud than it already is for us.
Well, you already know that you are working with leaders.
Yes, absolutely.
They are all leaders in their own right, and yet you see them in the future as well. If you're a good leader, which you are,
absolutely,
and you see them even greater, though it seems impossible. Or how can these wonderful people be greater? But you see them in the future, and because you see that, you want to always make sure that you're giving your best, because you recognize that they are giving their best.
Absolutely. And that's all I ask. I can't ask for perfection. Nobody on this planet is perfect. That's an impossible ask. I would be completely selfish to ask for a perfect show, a perfect telethon, a perfect anything, a perfect product. I want people to give me their best. And at the time, if their best is, of course it's going to be filled with mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. A lot of us have been up almost 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 hours a day working on this entire time, and then actually making the engine go. So,
and there's nothing wrong with making mistakes, especially
no.
when you're working in an order as a team. It's about lifting others when they're slipping.
Right.
Yeah.
One moment, if you please. All right, so let me see here. We have 35 or approximately 35 more minutes to go here on the auctions and on the ability to donate for this campaign. And don't worry, I am fairly sure that we will see Give Butter again, because Give Butter has been absolutely phenomenal. Hands down, the best platform that I have ever seen for raising money. And I have Sir Brian to thank for that, because he has worked with it for a previous job of his, working with nonprofits before, and he's the one who said, "Hey, look at this nice thing over here. It works great." And we went, "Oh, okay, what is this?" I used to call it something else. I would make that mistake all the time. I was calling it Good Butter, but it is Give Butter. And I am just, it is so simple. And then Restream, the Restream.io platform has been just great. Even with all of some of the technical savvy things that we've had to kind of navigate and work through. It just coming to the end of something like this is like seeing a child grow up and get ready to move out of the house for the first time. It's like the last of their teenage years, right? You know, it's that last year that you have with them, and you're making sure that they know how to change their car tire, that they know that insurance is due every month, that they know this and that and the other thing, and that they have your phone number. You are the mom, your phone number programmed in their speed dial should anything happen. Of course, that's not quite happening here, but the analogy is pretty much the same. And yes, thank you also to Cosmo, Reverend Cosmo, for all of the Restream knowledge. Steph, he made for us this, I don't know, 15, 20 page book, like literal book filled with knowledge. So a round of applause for him in particular.
And that's a phenomenal
favorites.
idea too, to put it in a book. You know?
Yes, absolutely. Because then
it's not his knowledge. He's
right.
sharing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's how he shared it with our team. He made 2 versions of it, a Word document and a PDF. So there you are. Let me see here. So yeah, let's see. What else should we close this out with? You know, this year I am looking forward to spending my birthday at the Parliament, because it's going to be the day of the big parade. Are you excited for the parade?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. I can't wait to be there with you and with everybody, with all of my paladins, with all of my Correllian family. We're going to bring so much energy to that party.
Yes.
Let's see. Is there anything that anybody else out there in radio, audio, visual land would like to know, or would like to ask, or would like to share with Chancellor Steph and myself before we get ready to call it a wrap for this telethon? This has just been such a pleasure, so much fun. Even with the the technical trial tribulation kind of things. Let's see here.
Well, I have something to add.
Yes. Yes, please.
The parade and raising energy reminds me of action, and deity set the world in motion.
Yes.
Through us and because of us. And knowing or reminding us we are her hands caring for this physical world. This is why she works through us, and this is how she works through us. So absolutely. All of this is just a part and parcel of the Paladins, and that they recognize that It's because of them, because of
Yes.
you, because of these last 50 hours. You have put this universal truth into action.
1000%. Thank you for hitting that nail right on the head so squarely. And that means so much to me because, sometimes okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. My room is an oven right now. And I am sitting here with my turban, looking posh, looking wonderful, sharing this time with you. And sometimes I wonder to myself, wait a minute, why am I doing this again? And you just reminded me why. Because
Yes.
I am the voice and I am the hands of things.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why, just to add on to that, that's why it takes so much energy. That's why we feel so tired, because for the entire time deity is working through us.
Yes.
And
But it's a good tired.
oh yes, it's a great tired. It's a great exhausted. I might be a little cranky for a few days. Forgive me,
Well,
friends and family out there in Radio Land, but it's part and parcel of the event, and of event running. And I don't know how other people make it look so flawless. I think that they just kind of do what I do and kind of fake it and pretend a little bit. Um, but that's what everybody
well,
has to do now and again. Um, oh God, Sir Brian. Sir Brian says Red Bull. And my Red Bull of choice just happens to be brewed with coffee beans. No Red Bull for me, only coffee.
yes. And since this is your second fundraiser
Yes.
Related to getting on in front of an audience and presenting wonderful presentations of all kinds, all the Paladins, the order itself and you are creating a history
Yes.
for yourself, which will create and is creating trust.
Yes.
And as trust is being developed, people feel more freer to give to this great cause.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for acknowledging that, Lady Steph. You are absolutely right. And I cannot wait to see all of this video up on the Correllians Live YouTube channel, and of course archived as well on Magic TV, Pagan World TV. I want to give a little bit of a shout out to Pagan World TV. Thank you so much as well to Reverend Sir Mary Hawk for being our link
Yes.
to Pagan World and letting us and helping us use this platform, and making herself available with any phone call if anything should go wrong in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. You just call her. You got to expect the what the heck is going wrong now, but that's only to be expected because Brian, do you want me to say that out loud? And apparently Sir Brian called her at 6:45 in the morning today or yesterday. Yesterday. Okay. So yeah, and she has handled it with pride and grace and knowledge that I am so grateful to have, and that I'm so grateful to have shared this event with that sponsor for us, because Restream is not cheap. And for them and for that business, Pagan World TV, to allow us to use it for 50 hours, I'm really grateful for that. So I just wanted that to be out there as well.
Yes.
And another group that I am grateful for is the two MCs and all of the people who helped them put the music block together. Okay. Now, I love me some good music. Having all of those people together last night takes more than a wing and a prayer. Like the wing and a prayer part, for those of you who don't know, is when you're coming to the to down to the T-5 minutes of an event like this, and then that's all you got. So yes, I want to say a big thank you to Reverend Sir Ebony Nash and Reverend Sir Cloud, aka Rich Donahue. Death Wish Coffee and Hopes and Prayers. Oh my God, put that back up. Whoever clicked on that, please click on it again. It was funny.
And yet this is yet another reason, talking about Mary Hawk, her phenomenal organizational skills and presentations, Ebony, everyone. That's why I don't like talking about specific names, because when I'm thinking about everyone I've seen here, this is a wonderful way to present all of the tradition's shining stars, because this tradition does not just have a single star. We have thousands and thousands of stars, and by doing this, we're proving it.
Yes, we have constellations.
Yeah.
We have galaxies.
Yes.
And that I really appreciate that particular recognition, because, you know, stars might shine by themselves out there, but like they're light years and light years and light years away from each other. But sometimes
and real stars, they don't mind sharing the limelight.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
That's right.
And you know, I even brought up the analogy that I love the most. The example that I love the most is that when you have a candle and you light the candle, that's turning potential energy of the wax into kinetic energy and actually physical energy from the flame and heat, right?
Yes.
And then when you light another candle from that candle, then you have double the actual energy being used into heat. And more stars create more heat. It's not taking away from the first star.
Never. Just bringing more light.
So one quick question for you, Lady Steph, is from Jim. Jim Sayers. He asks, Lady Stephanie, can you tell us more about the Correllian shaman path and the Order of World Walkers?
Two huge questions.
Yes, deep wells.
Yes. So I'll try to sum it up as that it can make some sense. The Correllian shaman is basically a training where everything is taught through you completing challenges. So challenges are given to you. You go out into the world and you do those things, and most of it is nature related,
right?
And then you discover through your own hands and your own eyes and your own ears many things. So in a sense, it's one long quest, your personal quest. And so there's been many good reports on after they take the training, they have new eyes, and when they look at a blade of grass again or a stone, and everyone's going to experience different things, so that's obvious. And for the world walkers, that's more of a huge exploration of reality and exploring all the realities and all the worlds through journeying of many kinds. And it is learning that we are already conscious incarnates, and learn how to put verbiage to that, so that you can then, the person learning, to teach that to the next generation. So once again, that is a very, very broad.
Absolutely. It's pretty big.
Houses, because each person will approach deity and different reality systems in different ways, because we're different people. So that's why we have different houses, because there'll be a house that will really connect with you, then you go in there and you finish your teachings. And I know through being a world walker that we have lessons here in this reality, the physical reality. But to me, on the most part, we just receive half the lesson. Then when
Right.
we enter into the astral realms, the different houses, the different journeys, then we receive the rest of the lessons.
Right. That makes perfect sense, at least to me. I mean, because I am a world walker.
Well, right.
I just remember that. Oh yeah, I am a world walker. Of course, it's gonna make perfect sense to
That
me.
sounds familiar. Yes.
Okay, so I would like to just raise a couple of more comments. First from Ebony Nash,
Oh.
up there at 1837, if we could, please. Okay, we can do that one first too. Y'all are way too kind. I'm just happy to serve how I can, and that's what makes you amazing, Ebony. My mantra is a quote by tennis player Arthur Ashe. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Heart.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Love it.
Amazing.
Yes.
And she also gave a shout out to Pam Kelly, Sir Pam, and Sir Cloud. They really helped to make her job easier and to deal with. And she is so grateful to them for holding down the fort last night. And yes, you guys did a smashing job together. I couldn't be more proud.
And haven't you noticed that too? That all of these personalities, they just know when to come in. They just know when to lift up. It's just a thing of beauty to watch.
Yes, absolutely. It's delightful.
Yes.
And Jim also wants to say thank you for breaking that down to you, Lady Steph.
You're welcome, Jim.
Yeah. And I really like that quote, Ebony. I'm going to have to remember that one. So folks, we have 18 minutes till the final bell. So get your auction bids in. If you haven't registered yet, there is no better time than the present. So hop on that horse, get in with our rodeo. Last minutes of the auction are here. Go ahead and bid now. Correllians.live/auction, givebutter.com/c/Correllianslive/auction if you feel like typing more. Wow. We made it. Finally.
Yes. and this cause for the Paladins going to the Parliament, 2 huge events, groups of people colliding together for a week. And recognizing this is such a meaningful gathering, and this is such a meaningful order, that when you give, you take part in the cause. You are literally taking part in the cause because you are giving your energy, meaning, that dirty word sometimes, money. You're giving your energy to the cause, which then you become the cause because now you're part of us.
Right, exactly. And I don't view money as a dirty word. And this is something that I also wanted to touch on earlier. Let's read just a comment first. Question: how does one join the Order of World Walkers? Well, we have a World Walkers training group that you would have to join next cycle. But don't worry. That will be opening I believe in January of next year, January or February of next year. And then you take the lessons and you learn and you do the lessons and you are either passed or incomplete on those lessons. We don't really give grades except for those 2. And I know all of this because I'm helping Lady Steph run that boat.
With recording, yes.
I am a person of many hats.
Yes.
Or turbans, as the case may be.
Yes. Lady Elizabeth is my right hand woman.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate being your herald for all these years. And Brian wants to point out that he's loving the Indigo Door with Sir Mike.
Sir Mike is wonderful, isn't he?
He is. He really is.
I mean, he's a little bit of a nut, but that's good.
I mean, they're tasty, at least nuts. I love me a good cashew or 2.
Well, Right?
Um,
Yes. Because by the time he finishes with you or you finish with him,
Yep.
you see the tarot in so many different levels. He
Mhm.
approaches it from all different sides.
Oh yes, oh yes, and that is right up Brian's alley. He is a tarot aficionado,
Yeah,
shall we
well, I
say?
hear good
I like
things
that big
about
word.
Brian. Yes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Sir Mike, according to Lady Sir Ebony, is life goals. Excellent. Yes, I like to hear that. That's so complimentary of you, Ebony. Oh my goodness. I love to hear that about people. That's how we know we have good people. When people are just like, "Oh yeah, you haven't met this guy yet. Yes, you need to go and do things with him or her
Yes.
or them."
Yes.
Right. So let's see. Who else? Who else on my list do I have yet to thank? So many of you guys. I'm sorry if I leave anybody out. It's not on purpose. I promise.
I know.
I'm doing my best, and we have
Yep.
only 14 minutes to go. So, oh yes, I want to thank my other herald, one of my other heralds, Lady Emerald. Reverend Sir Emerald has been my lodestone, my guiding star through so much of this. And of course, then we had Sir Brian come in and he took over my calendar, which is really amazing because I really needed
Yes.
somebody to do that. But like, there are just nothing that I can't go to Reverend Emerald about,
Yes.
and nothing that she isn't willing to listen to me about
Yes.
if she has the time. Um, and
You know what? With Reverend Emerald, whenever I hear her speak or present something or see her moving across a room, it's almost like I'm looking at a being of another place and time.
oh yeah,
You can just sit there and just drink it in.
yes,
Whatever she's presenting, you know that she knows her stuff.
oh yes, and seeing her paint that sunflower for me this morning or this afternoon, I should say, was just the most beautiful thing in the world because it's just something that's coming that she is bringing into the world for me.
Yes.
And she and I, we're like this. And
Oh,
it's just
good.
so good to have her in my life as her sister.
Wow.
And I really mean that, like, to the bottom of my heart. She is my sister. Her kids are my niece and nephew. My mom, she calls mom.
Aw.
My niece and nephew call my mom Nana or
Aw.
grandma. Like it, I don't have a blood sister, but I do have a sister, and I do have a lot of brothers and sisters other than Emerald as well.
Yes.
And my mom, as one of the as we wrap this up here, I want to thank my mother.
Good.
My mother, her name is Julie Ann. She goes by Julie. And she basically raised me pretty much as a single parent. My dad, I went to my dad's on weekends all growing up in my entire life there. But when I became a Correllian, she had no worries whatsoever. She did not try to tell me no. She didn't say it was a phase. She didn't have anything to like alter my path. She's just like, honey, you go out into the world. I know it's your time. That's what you do. You raise kids and then they leave. It's okay. Because I didn't want to leave home. I wanted to stay. Because like when I was growing up, we were really a close-knit family, and I had never known until I turned like 17, 18 what it was like by myself, like out there in the world without family, like a minute down the street. Because my Nana lived across the street from us. And of course I live with my mom. So that's like 3 generations. And then like only 6 hours away was my great grandma, my Nana's mom. So like we were 4 generations deep at that point.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Ohio for the first time, I got homesick. And and then I moved back home, and my mom, she never once told me that I couldn't come home. She always said, if you need a place to land, if you get in trouble, you call me and you tell me what's going on, and I will come and get you if I have to. And she's done that too. And then, so like she's never wanted to like join Correllian stuff, right? But then when we mention, oh, we're having a telethon. Oh, we're bringing over Apu Adman and Lakai, who she considers like her overseas sons from the Philippines. They're wonderful people as well. She was like, oh, they are? Oh, if I go to Parliament, will I see them? Yes, and yes. And we kind of adopted her as the house mother of Paladins. And she is coming to Parliament, and she helped with this year's telethon. This telethon for the auction section. She helped us pick out what items we were going to sell. So thank you so much, Mom. I would not be who I am if I had been raised by anybody else, and there is no one else that I would rather have been raised by. So we have 10 Lady Liz getting into cars with strangers at age 16. WTF? Oh, Mike, aren't you the sweetest?
Yeah.
Aren't you the sweetest? Yes, house mother. 3 cheers from a house mom. Hip hip hooray. So we have 10 minutes to go, give or take 8 minutes. Julie, the mother of dragons. I guess I am a dragon. Chinese dragon sign. Anyway.
Reverend Lady Elizabeth, do you want me to leave now so that you can have the last 10 minutes?
Well, sure, that's fine. Yeah, you can take your leave. I suppose. I really enjoyed having this last hour with you. Thank you so much for it.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. And we will see you again soon, I am sure. I really appreciate you.
Oh, I
thoroughly
appreciate
and completely.
You and your order.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Lady Steph, and take care. Okay. And you too, Mike Neal, you take care of our Lady Steph as well. And with that, it's just me. Here I am. We're at 21:45. And oh my goodness, has this been a long, long day. Long weekend. And, I'm going to go down the list just to make sure that I haven't missed anyone because I don't want to leave anybody out. Okay. So this is in no particular order. We have a chat that I'm part of, for this telethon itself. And, if a person has contributed in any small way, I want to make sure that they're acknowledged. So the first person on my list is Lakai. Lakai Alsense Agama, and he's overseas. And I just want to thank Lakai for taking the time with Rolando Apuadman, and being with us, being on this team for 8 full hours, 4 and 4, yesterday and this morning for the overnight block from 4 to 8 in the morning Eastern, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Philippines time. And then I would like to again acknowledge and thank Sir Brian Ellicott and his family for being so gracious enough to help me and be my herald. I know that it's not easy. You taking my calendar has been such a relief of a giant burden. I just want you to know that. And having your family participate in this telethon and donate to us has meant a lot to me as well. Christopher, aka Cosmo. Reverend Cosmo, that book that you gave us is invaluable. And the more we use Restream, I know the more we'll get used to it. But having your book and being able to use it, that handbook has been like a guide stone. If there's anything that I need, I know I can go to it about Restream. And of course, we can edit it like we did for any telethon or any kind of show that we have using Restream. So thank you for that. And also thank you for taking 2 of the overnight blocks as well. Sir Ebony, girl, you and I, oh my goodness, we go years and years back already. And you are just one of the greatest people to have in my corner. And I want to thank you for producing the entire music block and choosing 2 really amazing people to join you. And I want to thank them as well too, Sir Pam and Sir Rich, Sir Cloud. And then of course, Reverend Sir Emerald, thank you for the beautiful, beautiful journal. And Reverend Sir Kai, Thank you for donating to get me and Sir Brian a journal. That was really, really kind of you. And yes, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Ebony, I freaking love you too. Like, you don't know. Like, I can't describe the amount of love that I have for each and every person, okay? Reverend Sir Jason, thank you for standing beside me. Right, Reverend Sir Jason, I should say. Thank you for standing beside me as the other general, the second general in this order. Standing tall and helping me through get to the tough times and encouraging me when I need it and kind of slowing my roll when I need that too. Everybody needs somebody who can just be like, Liz, that's a bad idea. So yeah, you're my best friend, man. What can I say? I have a lot of best friends. All of you are my best friends, but I've known Jason for like 20 years. And he and the and I and the Neils, like, we've all known each other since I was like knee high to a grasshopper, basically 16. That's so many years ago. And for Reverend Sir Kai, thank you so much for making our pivot, our first giant pivot with the advertising. I owe you 10 million. We all owe you $10 million, okay? 10 million energetic dollars for that. Because man, we were really in a rock and hard place without that last minute pivot there in the last 10 15 days of this telethon before the green light came on. Sir Kim, I know that you weren't able to participate this year, but thank you for keeping the ball rolling for the Order of the Nine Muses while Sir Rich was helping us. And while he has been dealing with some family issues as well. You are rock solid, and I owe you a big thank you because I Sir Rich is my brother. Lady Lori Blackman, thank you for being here for this baby bear as my sister bear. And thank you also to Chad Blackman, Reverend Sir Chad, for being here when I need to talk to you about the hard stuff too. And then let's see, Mary Hawk. Mary, you know what I owe you. I owe you $1 million for helping us run this restream the whole weekend and being available 24/7 anytime we needed you to fix something. And Sir Pam Kelly, thank you for bringing your laughter and Goddess is good all the time, Lady Ebony, you know it. Thank you, Sir Pam, for bringing your laughter and your lightheartedness and just your sweetness and your goodness and your skills with your voice. We would not have had such an awesome video at the very beginning had we not had you. And I just want to thank you for being my friend as well through all of these years. And you know, if you know, and you know. And let's see. Thank you to my brother Rich. Sir Rich, you know, I can't name all the things that you know that we've been through in the short few years that we've known each other. But you producing your music, you giving us the opportunity to have all of the goodness of your songs, your discography for $21 from here through the end of June for this project just means the world to me, man. There's no more words that I can say. I'm out. And of course, Abu Adman himself, thank you so much for watching me and for participating with me and for being so willing and such a good student as well, and for also being willing to run for 8 hours with Lakai Alcent Agama from the Philippines, y'all. And with that, we are at the end of the 50th freaking hour. I am exhausted, but it's a good exhaustion. And a big thank you also from myself and from the whole team via Ebony over here with the last words, the last great big words here. I love this. Big thank you to the Red Album artist and panelist. And it did mean so much to have you with us last night. I know there were lots of like different technical difficulties, but we got through them like butter. We are at $2,150 from 61 amazing supporters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know that we will do amazing things with this money. We will go and we will represent your needs and your wants and your desires at the Parliament of the World's Religions. And yeah, auctions are closed. We'll have the final numbers here in just a little while. I'm not really sure how that works. That would be Sir Brian's department. He's the guy who ran all the Give Butter stuff for us, basically. So I don't know that I have anything else, guys. I'm pretty tired. I'm gonna go chill out, have some water, and all of you go drink water. May you all very, very much blessed, blessed, blessed be.